Tonight's broadcast actually began last week. And I had one thing in mind, but because of how events have unfolded, it's taken us in a slightly different direction, and we're just going to get right off into it here. Last week, you'll all remember that we did a program, and during the program, after some ridiculous callers there, but we did the program last week, and you'll remember that I was asking about whether or not we should do something for the lonely girls for Valentine's Day. I was just sussing out to see how that would go. Maybe something for the lonely girls on Valentine's Day. All right. However, what ended up happening was a little bit different. I put up a poll and let folks vote on it. And man, oh man, the fellas were like, nope, don't do anything for them. Contrary to what folks might have thought would happen, and most people would have thought that, oh, well, don't worry, it's going to be, a lot of people are going to be voting for it just to see what goes on and things like that. But it was exactly the opposite. It was exactly the opposite. And they were saying, no, don't do anything. Don't do anything. Jason, don't do anything for them. I was like, oh man, the fellas are kind of showing out tonight. So the next day, we held the business on Patreon, as we do every Saturday. And we started a conversation over there about that. And I was like, I was trying to figure out, what people might thought was driving that kind of thing. Whether they thought they were punishing females, whatever the case may be. And it started something very interesting, which is what we're going to talk about here tonight. My man Brandon called in. He called up because I had asked a question on Patreon. I asked a question of the females on Patreon. And I asked them, tell me, how many of you ladies, if you wanted to get a bouquet of roses free, how many of you would not be able, how many of you think you wouldn't be able to do that within 48 hours? And I'm talking about from every avenue. Men you've dated, on the internet, at your job, at your school, just get a bouquet of roses within 48 hours. Don't you know, not a single female raised her hand to say, yes, if I wanted a bouquet of roses, I could get it within 48 hours. What? That is literally what happened. Now, it would be different if it was just among the general public, but it wasn't. It's among my audience. And that's when I got to saying, okay, what's really going on here? What's really happening here? So Brandon calls up and he has something to say about that. And I want you all to hear what he had to say. And that's when we're going to get off in a nice program.
But I wanted to also comment, though, on what you was just talking about here. Yeah, Jason, the bridges is burnt, man. These chicks have really burnt their bridges on out here. And I think that, man, that, it's been so bad, even though I put it like this, you have definitely led the game on out here as far as these so-called internet gurus, even though some of them, they steal your game and these guys have been repeating your stuff. But I think the message has just sank on in. The dudes have pulled the money. Now, I can see by the chat room, I know it's a lot of females going up there. They are not 100% sure that they could get a bouquet of roses. Come on now, Jason. That it automatically insinuates, though, shit, you got emotional feelings about the hoe. At least, though, nigga, at least you go ahead and know, though, not to play yourself out like that by dropping off a female a bouquet of roses, and she's sitting up here probably in that damn, or even for a co-worker or whatever, you drop that bouquet of roses on off, and she's sitting up here having sex with the same dude who seen you drop it on off. It's real out here. These females, though, is skullduggerous and every damn thing on else, man. So yeah, it's bad. It's bad for them, though, man. Even though these dudes, they may not be getting no female attention, but they've at least wisened up somewhat enough though to pull that money flow. And it's affecting the economy. It's affecting restaurants. It's affecting every part of bit on out there. Every part of bit of our economy right now. No, seeing all these malls closing, K Jewelers. That was supposed to be for the I'm sorry or engagement rings, and that's drying on up. You see all the little restaurants like TGI Fridays and Chili's. You see them closing doors left and right. Those both be like little first date getaways. So yeah. It's bad out here, man, for the ladies, though, because the dudes unanimously, even the simps, have pulled their money.
Yeah, I mean, the low-hanging fruit, bro. Like, okay, let me just tell you what this immediately suggests to me. And you can let me know what you think about it. But when I see this kind of math or this kind of result right here, what this suggests to me is that, chicks been out there testing the waters and seeing what they can get, and ain't very much happening. So when you do a check-in like this, it's not even that they're uncertain. They're saying these responses because they are certain, which tells me they've been trying. So this is the result of a string of responses or lack thereof they've been getting.
Oh yeah, man. Listen, man. Y'all. It taking effect. I mean, I hate to say it though to the guy, you know what I'm saying, no shoe though. That you and Kevin Samuels though, they hate to go ahead and just say it like that, but he did reach that massive audience though, man. It's just real. It's over with. The tricking days and them dudes sitting up there sipping on females, the word is out, man. Look, Jason, the word is out. It's out. You can tell by the voice in the chat room. You can do a whole broadcast on this next week. The word is out. If you can't go ahead and get the broad for the free, then damn it, you ain't getting the broad at all. And that's just what it is. Dudes know paying money to no female getting in her drawers. And that's just the bottom line. That it's going to be free or it's going to be something. What you see in the chat room right there, though, man, no shit. Ain't about the flowers or nothing. It's unanimously. Either she gonna invite you over to Netflix and chill, or nothing. So it's a wrap on out here, and they're seeing it, and they know it. It's a wrap. Ain't no more nothing on out here. Dudes that know any damn time you come off any man, I got clowns. I'm like you know me, Jason. Like, you know what I'm saying? I hustle hard, work hard, though shit. I got my money or whatever, though shit. I went out to a bar though last year though, shoot. Hanging out with my for my uncle's birthday party though. You know what I'm saying though? I'm buying. You know what I'm saying though? We got drinks in there, and we got bottles in there, and we also buying drinks. I ain't up just buying. You know what I'm saying? I'm buying shots for my uncles and my cousins for my birthday and some of my friends, and I'm also bought some shots for the ladies though. They looked at me like I was insane. Like, how dare you buy these damn females any damn thing? And I felt it, Jason, because these damn chicks, though, one of these chicks actually really thought that she was kind of flexing on me. Like, she was trying to brag and sit back and say, yeah, I had that nigga buying me drinks. I'm like, what? Girl, your ass. You see this damn platinum card on this damn table? What the hell is this damn $12 mean to me? But that just shows you, Jason, they ain't never had no men really do nothing on out there for them. They're so irrelevant right now, though, and then lower the damn bar, and so few dudes are doing any damn thing that they have to literally almost compare getting a Budweiser to a Birkin. This is how far these damn chicks have really just fallen on off. They have to accept whatever they go ahead and get, though, just so they can even feel like they ass is actually living that damn life, because ain't nothing happening. The dudes are clear. Even the dudes who are getting a lot of dang on coochie, they're not doing any damn thing because they don't have to. And the dudes already know. If she really liked me, she wouldn't ask me to pay for nothing. Oh, did I lose your brother?
No, bro. I mean, you spitting.
Yeah.
I mean, you spitting. Hey, look, like I say, a lot of folks think, oh, Jason is this, that, and the other, and I get the mama's boys hated and stuff. No, I listen to y'all. When y'all tell me things like that, I'm like, okay, let me see if I need to we need to re-examine that, because I've been the guy telling you all how bad the situation is. Here's my thing. My thing is that, let me just go ahead and put it on the bricks. I know a lot of the females in here today. I know a lot of them in here today, and I'm like, oh, really? So I'm not offering a business like that, but I'm like, okay, I thought it was a little bit better than that. But clearly this cuts all the way to the bone. I'm like, I thought that was an outside issue. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
You did it. You did it. This is 100% because of you. You did it. The other folks stole it. They gave out the game. We know where it came from. But at the end of the damn day, it has taken a massive effect on out here. You know, these guys, if they didn't get nothing else from Fresh and Fit or all these other posers, posing for you still in your game, they got that part. I will not make money does not increase my chances with any female whatsoever. Bottom line. All you doing is just spending money for no damn reason. And if you ever even gave them my shoulder to you, even if I gave you a crumb, bitch, if I gave you a crumb, you would think you would think my ass was raised, because they just so damn desperate out here. And it is.
Well, I mean, the simp economy is so raggedy and whatnot. I mean, like, that start off the program reminding folks, I mean, they got dudes just flooding their inboxes and stuff. So, and every single mom out here thinks that she's going to get a rescue plan at the end of the day. But certainly, like I say, with that going on, I'm like, okay, if niggas is out here paying rent, and a bouquet of flowers would be a given. I mean, if Tinder or Match.com or Bumble or whatever was requiring that, I think the chicks would have, it would look like, the Black Forest sitting outside their house would be so many roses. So I think there's a disconnect here. Maybe they didn't understand exactly how I was asking it, but I'm just going to assume that they did. And with that being the case, man, it's like, the economy's shifting.
It wasn't no distortion in what you said. It was no distortion in what you said. You were saying plainly, who do y'all think and know you would get a bouquet of roses from in the next 48 hours if you ask? And they're not lying. None. You ain't getting no damn bouquet of roses, especially any damn thing like a bouquet of roses, though, because then that knows you just really just simping. Now you just finna get clowned, even by the other damn loser. How about that one? The other mama boy losers is gonna clown you for doing some stuff like that. Like, nigga, I can't get abroad though, but nigga, shit, look what you doing. You worse than me. So it's really that damn bad out here. No, Jason, ain't nobody paying these females bills except a bunch of old niggas. I'm sorry though, it's not that I don't think a lot of the younger males have it. But at least they got game enough to go ahead and know this is not increasing my chances, has no effect on anything that they're doing. This does not increase your chances of having a better, of doing anything with this female or her feeling any damn type of way about you. Word is on out. You can't buy, as you said it, you can't buy respect. And the word is out on that. You cannot buy love or respect. So there's nothing with your wallet you can do with these damn chicks. That cover is blown. There is no I learned to like you, or I changed, or I see your value. It is none of that. So the money, so it's just like though you come in with your legs wide open, draws off, or draws on off for the 2 o'clock in the morning jump off or nothing. And that's just what it is, JB. I just hate to go ahead and tell you, everybody ain't got all the game, but that part is rock solid. That part is rock solid, based on out here. You even try to rock that, you even try to move that a little bit. Everybody's on your ass. And the worst damn people about it, though, like I said, is the females. They're so desperate out here, man, trying to get them dudes to feel like, or like they're trying to replicate this bad diva behavior where they get dudes breaking them off something and they just end up really just blowing any chance that they could ever just have and looking goofy on out here. They just really just that damn desperate. Like, man, it's bad. It's a wrap, Jason. You did it. Round of applause to you, man. That's all I think I can say. Round of applause to you. Everybody ain't got the game, no, but the tricking days, the spending money days, the simping days, all that shit is done. You opening your wallet right now does not gain you anything whatsoever. And the dudes who are still tricking, trust you me, they already doing it. They doing it straight on up like old boy off of what's that movie? Set It Off. When Nate told her what he wanted, he was serious about it, though, shoot, and wouldn't even let Stoney get a sip of yak on her breath. Like, nope, because I don't like none of it. I don't like that, though. You finna do this sober. Want my full money's worth, and that's all you gonna give me with nothing less. And that's what it is out here, man. So it's terrible for the ladies, bro.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
So basically, you all have heard the gist of the call that I had with Brandon last week here on Patreon on the business on Patreon. So that was what he said in response to what happened. And this week, I had one thing in mind for this week, but as you can tell, things swerved in a different direction. And that's the direction we're going to be exploring here tonight. Let's go ahead and show you all a few things here first before we get started on everything else. Let me go ahead and just show you a couple of things here to put this in its proper perspective, because there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation. I'm letting you all know Valentine's Day is dead. We're here just tonight to do the post-mortem and the autopsy to find out who killed it. That's all we're really trying to do here tonight. Now, some of you might think you've come into some conflicting information, which is the reason I want to have this program with you tonight. Because you see, when you go to the National Retail Federation, why, they have something different from what you're hearing from me. So anybody who goes out there trying to Google it and stuff, they're like, Jason, you wrong. Now, we all know how this is going to end, but let's do it anyway. Now, what did they say here as of January 27th? A couple weeks ago. What'd they say? Consumer spending on Valentine's Day expected to reach new records. A record $29.1 billion. Damn! Oh, man. Well, Jason, this sounds like Valentine's Day is a record day. It's alive and well, Jason. You just talking and just trying to talk it down and wish it was bad. But here's the truth of it. According to the annual survey released today by the National Retail Federation and Prosper Insight and Analytics, the amount surpasses the previous record of $27.5 billion in 2025. Shoppers are budgeting a record $199.78 on average for gifts, an increase from $188.81 last year and surpassing the previous record of $196.31 set in 2020. So before the pandemic beat everything into hell. Well, Jason, it seems like you're wrong there. It sure does seem like you're wrong, see? Oh, really? Why don't we take a look behind those numbers and let's see how it pans out. From WCVB, Channel 5, ABC, Boston's news leader. Miss Ramirez, Damali Ramirez, has the article here and says, Valentine's Day spending is expected to be record-setting this year, data shows. See, Jason, see, you got it wrong. Everybody's telling you the same thing. You got it wrong. Wait a minute. She goes on to explain a lot of these things here. They talk the $29.1 billion, National Retail Federation, Prosper Insight Analytics, okay. Annual survey polled about 7,800 adult consumers about their Valentine's Day shopping plans and found that more than half of respondents plan to celebrate the holiday. The majority of celebrants plan to purchase gifts for their significant others and family members. Buyers will spend about $200 in total, $199, but on significant others, friends, pets. What? On significant others, friends, pets, and others. That's slightly more than they spent in 2020 when spending reached a record $196.31. All right, folks, so you can see here is the numbers over time and what they've been doing. You can see that per person. Now, what this really just tells you is inflation. It really just tells you what inflation has done. But you know what? Even if you want to hold on to these other things right here, it will not get much better for you here because you see, here's the graph right here showing you a breakdown of what the spending will be for. And man, oh man, when you see throughout the years here, when we go under for your spouse, well, that gets the lion's share. But what did you notice here? In 2022, the number was $100.84. As of this year, the number has dropped below all the others to $99.56. Damn! Let's hear it for your spouses. That's for the married crowd there. Even amongst the married crowd, with inflation going up and the spend is going down. Next up is for family. Well, for family, the spend has gone up from 2022. As a matter of fact, it's the highest it's been. 2022, it was $29.97. In 2023, it was $30.51. It's dipped since then, but that one is back up above the others. So family spending has gone up. Spousal spending has gone down. I wonder where else spending is going up. Since the spousal spending is going down, it doesn't necessarily say girlfriends or boyfriends, but that's gone down. Let's take a look here at friends. I wonder if this is friends that we're sexual with. Friends, $12. It was $12.17. Now it's up to $16.37. So the spending for spouse has gone down. Spending for family and friends has gone up. Even over the last 4 years, higher than any of the other numbers for the last 4 years for both family and friends. But wait. Kids, classmates, and teachers. Once again, highest it's been. Higher than the previous years. Once again. Next up is co-workers. Once again, highest that it's been. Spouse has gone down. Lowest it's been since the middle of the pandemic. For everything else, it's gone up. And it's really gone up where the pets are concerned.
Nigga, what?
Oh, folks, it's really gone up where the pets are concerned. It's almost doubled. It has almost doubled. Why, 2022, the spend was $8.72 for Fido and kitty litter. Now, this year, somebody's budgeting to double the pet expenditure for 2026. Now, we know who this isn't. Men don't buy pets no damn gifts on Valentine's Day. So this is 100% females right here. A man don't make a doggy date for Valentine's Day. So we all know who this is. So take a look at where the numbers for buying for pets were 4 years ago and take a look at where that number is now. And then for others, just for other, that one has doubled as well. What I'm showing you is that even amongst the so-called married crowd, do you see how that number, that's the only number that has gone down. All the other numbers have gone up. The spouse number is the only one that's gone down. Well, this is very simple deductive reasoning at this point. Well, if the spend amount total overall is going to be higher than it's been, and that money's, and yet the spouse section has gone down, that means these other areas are going up. We know where that money is coming from. The spouse category gets the lion's share of things, yeah, but there is definitely lossage occurring. Definitely lossage. As evidenced by everything I've told you and everything you're seeing here, now you have the data, and this is from the National Retail Federation, which you just saw. There'll be record spending, yeah, but there's a distinct change in the distribution and dispensation. There is a distinct change in it. You can't chalk this up all to inflation. People are making different decisions about who they spend that money on. They're making differing decisions now. Different decisions. All hands up who didn't see that coming. That would be most people out there. No, they had no idea that this was what it was going to be. They thought it was going to be something different. A lot of folks out there mislead you. A lot of folks out there got you thinking all kinds of things. They got you thinking all kinds of things. Now, there's also an alternative piece here as well, because this is an article from entrepreneur.com. And this is what Entrepreneur is saying. By the way, just in case you wanted to get a second opinion, according to Entrepreneur, Americans are spending half as much on Valentine's Day this year. And here's what they're buying instead. It says Americans plan to spend $87 on Valentine's Day gifts this year, down from $155 in 2025. So, according to their information, it's going to be different. That the average the Valentine's Day spending, slashing Valentine's Day spending by 44% in 2026. The average person plans to spend $87 on their partner, down from $155 last year, according to Coupon Follow survey of 1,005 Americans in relationships. Now, once again here, we might defer to the National Retail Federation about what the numbers will do. I'll just spot you a solid and say we'll go with National Retail Federation and say the numbers are going to go up. We'll go with them. However, I think this next part is relevant. But here's the twist. Americans aren't ditching romance altogether. They're just going old school. 61% say their ideal Valentine's Day gift is a romantic dinner. Another 57% want an experience like a trip or concert. And 51% of women and 39% of men want a handwritten card or letter. People are being more selective about where their money goes. It used to be like a second day of Christmas, particularly for the ladies. It used to be like a second Christmas day before now. It used to be that way. It no longer is. That's not really what it is. Take a look on your timelines on social media, folks. That's not really what it is. Let's go back to the National Retail Federation article about that. Let me go back and show you what they expect spending to be on. We'll just scroll down here. It says here that candy remains the most popular Valentine's Day gift, with 56% of consumers planning to purchase candy. Other top gifts include flowers, 41%. So that's way below candy. Greeting cards, 41%. Oh boy. So the greeting cards are the same as the flowers. Usually folks will get those together. All right. And evening out, 39%. And jewelry, 25%. However, shoppers are expected to spend the most, a total of $7 billion on jewelry. So the fewest number of people want to spend on jewelry, but the dollar amount will be highest. They'll spend $7 billion on jewelry, followed by $6.3 billion on an evening out, $3.5 billion on clothing, and $3.1 billion on flowers. They didn't say about the candy. In line with recent years, the top shopping destination remains online, 38%, followed by department stores, 35%. So those are almost neck and neck. Discount stores. Discount stores, 30%, and specialty stores, 21%. So this is where the women going to be going. The men are going to go online to the department stores. The women are going to the discount stores and the specialty stores. So they'll be going to discount stores. The men will probably be at the specialty stores too. For those who are not planning on celebrating Valentine's Day, nearly 1/3, 31%, still plan to mark the occasion in some way. Netflix and chill. Popular activities include splurging on a gift or self-care, these are the women, or planning a get-together or outing with friends and family members, more the women. So now you all have the data for Valentine's Day. I've been warning you now, going on 8 years here just on the business. Since we started our Galentine's Day program all these years ago, since we started then, it is no longer speculation, folks. The hammer is falling. It's not your mind playing tricks on you. If you notice, the stores are absolutely packed with chocolate, packed with balloons, packed with flowers, standing room, and it's standing room only for the flowers, and yet they're not moving. Because at the end of the day, the economy is powered by men. Men's desires, men's ambitions. It's powered by the men. And what we're coming to the realization of here is that the men are completely unmotivated. As a matter of fact, not only are they unmotivated, they are actually losing motivation. And just in case you were wondering, whether or not matters could get any worse, hate to lay these negative vibes on you here, but as a matter of fact, it sure can. This just in from the New York Post. Damn! Americans are on the verge of sextinction as shocking numbers are going without sex, and social media are partly to blame. I'm not going to read the whole article to you here. There's just some choice parts I want to go into. It says, America, it seems, is on the verge of a sextinction. People are experiencing extended periods of sexlessness in the U.S. A staggering 1 in 3 men, 1/3 of men, and 1 in 5 women, 20% of women, so 33% of men, 20% of women, have not had sex in the past year, according to the General Social Survey. Testosterone levels are plummeting, Loneliness is at record highs. Like so many problems, social media are at least partly to blame. So these people are looking for overly simplistic answers. They know what the real answer is, but yeah. Quote, the idealization of impossibly high standards has coaxed men into believing that social media influencers with millions of followers may one day show interest in them. It has persuaded women to give the time of day only to men who are over 6 feet tall and astronomically wealthy. Sex neuroscientist Dr. Deborah So writes in Sextinction, The Decline of Sex and Future of Intimacy, out Tuesday. Folks, as Brandon said, the message is out. It is out everywhere. It's in your old newspaper publications like New York Post. It is online. You have some of the other news outlets who they are invested in gaslighting and deceiving and brainwashing the population because men power the economy and sex is one of the largest motivators for males to voluntarily work, to voluntarily excel so they can max out their sexual options. But what happens when you have a male population that says, you know what? The female population currently is not worth the labor that it would require to excel. The cost I pay for excelling, the reward I will get for whatever female walks up is not going to be equal or much less greater than the cost of the effort it would require of me to do it. So what's the point? And this is where we are today. We're here today with it. They are just now starting to accept that they're not going to gaslight the men anymore. What do these numbers tell you the tale? 1/3 of men? 1/3. That's males boycotting. That's not just incel behavior. That's the males saying, you know what? Because the guys are not just sitting around doing nothing. They're doing other things. What they're not doing is supporting the female population or contributing to the greater economy, not nearly to the level that they could. Not nearly to the level that they could. I want to read another part here. I'm skipping down, but I want to read another part of it here. It says that So calls it a mismatch between our ancestry, history, and our tech-saturated environment that is overwhelming our evolutionary sensibilities. It's so bad, she writes, that, quote, survival of the fittest is now on steroids and sidelining even the best of us. So also blames porn for the sexual drought, noting that ready availability is warping young people's desire for sex by conditioning them to respond to screens and even nudging them toward certain desires like choking or violent sex. Nonsense. Because what that's doing is another attempt to deny the reality. If women are more pleasant to be with than a PlayStation or a car or pornography, then males will spend more time with females. If females are less pleasant than a PlayStation, less pleasant than a car, less pleasant than pornography, the males are not going to just sit there and smack their heads into a wall and keep tolerating a very unpleasant environment. They're going to spend time where it's more pleasant. That's what's going to happen. So they are still in denial because pandering is such a stupid, ridiculous thing. But they're continuing to try to do it anyway, even if it's leading to stupid and futile conclusions. So they're still in denial in the press about coming out and saying exactly what it is because they know what the problem is. They just don't know, how do you deal with females who have accepted basically suicidal culture? How do you deal with that? And they're afraid to grapple with it. So there they are. I'm not going to read the rest of it here, but I am going to say here that, The numbers are the numbers. The numbers are the numbers. There is one other part I want to read here. I almost forgot here. It said that the writer she points to studies from Kyushu University, Environment International, and Aquatic Toxicology that found wild fish exposed to anti-anxiety drugs, birth control pills, and antidepressants from human wastewater have been feminized and display altered mating behavior. Yeah. Quote, in addition to potentially feminizing men, soy, we've all heard about that, can lower sperm count. What's particularly concerning is that some infant formulas are made from soybeans and are fed to babies in bottles containing endocrine disruptors. Quote, human beings as a species need to face-to-face interaction, to gaze into one another's eyes, and to hear others' voices, she writes. We are not meant to be hiding behind screens. Well, you're absolutely right about that, because human beings are supposed to be social creatures. They're supposed to be social creatures. The problem is that when socializing with a certain sex becomes incredibly unpleasant, survival instinct kicks in, and survival instinct's first reaction is going to be to avoid that situation. Avoid danger, avoid habitually unpleasant situations. They don't want to have to accept this because there's a terrifying reality behind that you've created suicidal monsters with the assumption that men will simply bash their heads into a wall to get sex no matter what the level of discomfort is. That was the assumption that everyone has been making, that men are going to keep chasing sex and they're just going to keep their nose to the wheel and their shoulder to the grindstone, and they're just going to keep chasing it no matter how difficult it gets, no matter how unpleasant, no matter how hard, no matter how torturous it is. That was the assumption they've all been making. The government, media, academia, everyone was assuming this. Now we're seeing from the numbers what happens when the men decide, well, you know what, if the females have embraced suicide, two can play that game. What happens when the men just pull back everything? I will tell you what happens. What happens is every damn thing gets super lame. It gets super lame, stupid, and boring. Men are what get things and keep things lit. You know why? Because being lit costs money. It costs money to be lit. It costs time and effort to be lit. It takes literal sweat and work to create a really magnetic and exciting environment. And men are the only ones who are going to do that. If you ask women to create, and I'm talking about construct, a environment like that, they are not going to do it. They're not. The women are not going to, if you ask women to construct a lit environment, they're going to hang up some paper mache and buy some flowers. And that's it. If you ask men to create a magnetic, exciting environment, we're going to put up disco balls and concert speakers and lights in the floor and strobe lights and the whole damn 9 yards. It's going to look like another planet. When men do things, we do it big. There's a reason why even the beauty pageants have to be hosted by men, because our perspective about scale of things is always going to be enormous. It's going to be bigger than life's. Women are going to be more intimate and small. Men are going to be more grand and spectacular. We're the ones who create bigger than life. Always have. Always will. As long as we're motivated. because it takes a tremendous amount of effort. Takes a tremendous amount of effort to pull that off. And the amount of effort that it takes for men to create this fantastic world you live in has not been appreciated. It's been taken as not only an entitlement, why they're entitled with contempt. So it's one thing if somebody is exploiting you. It's another thing if they're exploiting you and they're doing it with contempt. This is where we are right now. This is where we're at today. So what happens when you've convinced the men that the level of effort that is required to please you isn't worth it anymore? What happens then? Things get lame, things get boring, things get stupid, things get small, things get plain. That's what happens. So the lit stuff is the men reserve the lit things for themselves. The Super Bowl championships, the really good movies, that gets reserved for the men. The really expensive experiences, that gets reserved for them. Everything else gets lame. Let's be very, very clear. A female does not want to spend money, not even her own. Buying herself gifts is the height of lameness. You know that you are morally and emotionally bankrupt if you're buying your own gifts. If you have to buy yourself a birthday cake, it ain't worth buying. It only has value if somebody else buys it. And women don't spend money on gifts for other women. So your gal pals are never going to make Christmas nearly as exciting as a man will. Your girlfriends, if you're lucky, they'll spend $50. If there's a man in your life, he thinks nothing of spending $500, $1,000, $2,000 if you are worth it. It doesn't matter what you do for your girlfriends. You know that there is literally nothing you could do for another female that will make you worth that kind of expenditure. Because your girlfriend's like, I'll be damned. $1,000 on one of my female friends. What am I supposed to do? I have to work for a few weeks to save that up. I don't know if I like her that damn much. You've known each other since college. You've been sorors together, and she still does not think you are worth $1,000 gift. Y'all been besties since you were in elementary school, and you don't know a single female. To the women in here, you haven't had a single female in your entire life, including family members, who have bought you $1,000 gift.
And deal with it, nigga.
The only people who spend them kind of dollars on a female is a man. So in other words, women like nice stuff, yeah, but the only people gifting nice things, the only ones who will have that as a gift, oh, that's just the men. Now let me take it a little bit further. Let me go ahead and just step all over your damn Valentine's Day for you. There are certain things you can't get from another female at any cost, and she's not even going to attempt to provide it. See, women have a cutoff. When she starts feeling like she your man and like she's acting like your husband, she's like, yeah, I'm out of here. Let's be very, very clear about something. A female is not going to buy another female something she ain't got.
Oh, please.
See, the women, ladies, I got to read the mail right quick. You know why Valentine's Day is getting super lame and you can't use your girlfriends to replace it? And you can't replace it either because a female is not going to spend more on another female than she spends on herself. She's not going to buy another female something nicer than what she got. A man might do that. A woman is never going to buy another female something she ain't got. She's not going to buy you a gift that's nicer than hers. Matter of fact, she's not going to buy you a gift that is half as nice. Hell, females don't even want to tell each other where they bought their shoes at. What? If a female got a nice pair of shoes, ladies, y'all know how scandalous y'all are. Women don't, if your girlfriend got a nice pair of shoes, I mean really nice, she will not tell you where she bought them. If she has a nice dress, she will not tell you where she got it. She'll tell you, oh, I don't remember. Oh, it was a gift from somebody. Women undermine each other on the regular. So the idea that females are going to step in and take the place of the level of unearned benefits that men provide, you need to stop lying to your damn self, because you're not lying to us. Stop lying to you, because you are not lying to us. Not at all. If holidays are going to be lit, everybody's sitting back for the men to make it lit. If the anniversary is going to be popping, it's going to be the man who makes it pop. And if Valentine's Day is going to be worth a damn, it's going to be the men who make it that way. Except maybe up until this point. Because now, ladies, you're going to be required to do a whole lot more heavy lifting than you all may have been otherwise accustomed to doing here. That's what's going to be happening now. Ladies, I said it years ago here, and it is going to be more true now than ever. You are going to have to pay tribute.
Damn!
The era of getting something for nothing, I'm just letting you know the door is officially closing down on that. And now here's what they're thinking. Here's what they're thinking. Because you see, when you start saying unpleasant truths, what happens is certain segments of the population, the ladies start telling themselves in their heads, that don't apply to me, and I got a strategy for circumventing that. You know what? Let me go ahead and address that. Let me go ahead and address that right quick. You think that what you're going to do is go find the lowest of the low-hanging fruit and you're going to go ahead and just dogpile them. Ladies, there's only a limited number of salary simps and pension pimps. And then they have to be willing to fool with you. The bottom line is that there are always more women in need than there are men who can provide for it. And even if you open up the gates to the lower hanging fruit that you've been ignoring all this time, there's still not enough of them to compensate for the level of expectation that you're holding. That's the problem. Also, remember, if you start flooding to them, that doesn't make the males want to work harder. That makes them say, hey, I don't have to do anything else, which is, by the way, currently where you're already at. I'm going to give y'all a moment of silence to brace yourselves here.
Alrighty then.
Because I want to name a few cities and you tell me if I'm wrong. What's the biggest complaints that you hear from females out of Atlanta, females out of New York, females out of Los Angeles? What's the biggest complaint you hear from them? The biggest complaint that you hear is, these men ain't acting like men. Well, what is her, quote, definition of a man? They say a man, what she really means is doing things for me for nothing. Men aren't just handing out benefits like that. That's one of the biggest complaints the women have in Atlanta, New York, Chicago, LA, Miami. We can go down the list. So you're telling yourself, fine, if the prime males in the top 10%, 20% just ain't gonna give it up, or if those guys are so packed with choices, shout out Stephon Diggs, that they don't have to do anything for you. Wow, that sounds like the privilege the females have been living under, doesn't it? Well, then I'll just go get one of the sad sacks. Yeah, but it can't just be any sad sack. It's got to be a sad sack who has actually been out there and doing some work and making some things happen, because you can't run a grift if there's nothing to grift. You can't run a grift when there's nothing to grift off of. So he's going to have to have built up something for you to go freeload off of. You can't freeload off of a guy who hasn't built up anything to freeload off of. So once again, you notice how once you start adding these conditions, it dramatically reduces the individuals you can go to. So ladies, I mean, go dogpile them if you wish to. They're sitting right there. I'm holding a nice program to tell you that from everything that Brandon said to what the fellas were doing last week to all this stuff that you've been ignoring in other places, you never imagined that the men would call your bluff. What happens when you spent so much time telling the men no that eventually the men just stop showing up to even ask for a yes? What happens now? Because you still want all this nice stuff because that's your reason for living. Attention is like oxygen. Baby, you don't get attention for common things. You get attention for uncommon things. If a female wants attention, by definition, what she has to be rare. This is why you all withhold information to each other about what you're wearing, where you got your shoes, where you got your jewelry, where you got your blouse. You want to be a one of a kind because you know if everybody got it, it's not valuable. So if you want attention, you have to be rare. Well, folks, rare things are expensive. Rare things are expensive, and if you really want that, you're going to have to work for it, but you're not going to do that. And if the men won't do it, then the spigot is officially off. Now what happens when you have a bunch of females on antidepressants and psychotropic drugs running around doing whoever and whenever and whatever? 25% of the women are not having sex at all. Now, first of all, that means 75% of the women. I'm sorry, 80%. Let me correct that, 80%. So let me get this straight. The top 20% of males are having 80% of the sex, and 20% of the females today aren't having any at all. So that means 80% of the females are out here just wilding out. Body counts just spiking. Well, yeah, but who are they having sex with? They're having sex with the males who they can. All right, but she's not doing that for nothing. We did a program about Cardi B last night, which is why I had to do that program about Cardi B. Cardi B is emblematic of females at large. Cardi B might be a little outlandish, but the bottom line is women support her and the Lori Harveys because when they're being honest, that's what they really want. Well, only a man can give you that level of status, and with the men openly saying that they are getting out of the status giving business, this is an ominous era to be going in. This is an ominous sign to have in front of you, that the men are saying, yeah, we're good. That even a bouquet of roses, a gesture so minor that, yeah, that's not worth it. If the men who at the top, they don't have to do it, and the males who you think, well, dude, you better buy something because it's not like you in demand like that. And if most of those guys are like, yeah, we're not going to play that game because what am I going to get for it anyway? not something equal in value to the effort it would take. So why put in any effort at all? If you're assuming that you're going to be displeased, why would you put any effort forth when you already assume you're going to end up displeased no matter what you do? Well, that just kills motivation. And this is why and how Valentine's Day died. You want to know who killed Valentine's Day? The women killed it. Ladies, I gotta be dead honest with you. The women killed Valentine's Day. They killed Valentine's Day with narcissism, selfishness, sexual exploration, and adventurism. It costs a man to gift you. The idea that, well, don't worry, the males are all desperate, so they'll just throw themselves out here and whatnot. It's like you're just assuming that that's going to continue. What happens when the gravy train grinds to a halt? What happens then? And now here we are with a bunch of lame stuff going on. You go to the shopping mall, the men aren't shopping anymore like that. I need y'all to understand that the men ain't shopping anymore like that. Do yourselves a favor, folks. Do yourselves a favor one of these evenings here. Go by the Gucci store at Lenox Mall in Atlanta. You go by there. Go by the Prada store. And you go check and see who actually walks up to the register with an actual purse. The women walk in the store and then they walk out empty-handed. If a man's not paying for it, it ain't leaving. The women don't pay for this stuff at the Prada store. If a man walks in, he's leaving with a purse. Ain't that something? The women walk in window shopping. They took one gaze at those price tags and said, oh, hell no. Let me see if I can lay up under a dude. Baby, you got student loan debt, credit card debt. You've been talking about getting your weight up and your money up here and you just J-O-B, just over broke. You're not going to do that. That Kelly bag, that Birkin bag, that's going to remain a dream. You're not going to put together $20,000 of effort for a handbag. Oh, I'm sorry. It won't be $20,000. It'll actually be somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 or $50,000.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, it'll actually be in that neighborhood because remember, unless you're a celebrity at Hermes, they treat it like Ferrari. You have to buy some of their little knick-knack stuff and work your way up before you can get a Birkin or a Kelly. So you got to buy a damn lipstick and a coin purse for $3,000 or $4,000. You have to spend your way to earn the right to get a Birkin or a Kelly. So in reality, you're going to spend many $1,000s more before you even get to where you want to go. You're not going to do that. I'm wondering if it was really worth it. Was it really worth it to kill all the nice stuff? Was it really worth it to trash all the nice holidays? Was it really worth it? I don't think you're going to look back on it here very shortly and think that it was. I think you're going to be wishing you hadn't killed Valentine's Day. And it's not about me bowing to the merchants. Listen, before the incel dudes start sitting up here, logging off a Pornhub right quick so they can sit up here and nag at me. People were talking about ritual. As men, in particular, let's be very, very clear. Men have a very strong respect for ritual. Ritual for us is a deep spiritual thing because ritual is a reliving of something. It's a reminding us of why what we're doing or why what we're focusing on is important to us in the first place. So ritual serves a very important purpose for men. It is a reminder to us to relive this experience so that it reminds us why this is important, why this matters. So when it comes to birthdays or observances, when it comes into the military and observances, as men, we created those observances because ritual is very, very important to us. It's an integral part of our being. It has to be. So you see, I have respect for the rituals of days like Valentine's Day. I have respect for the rituals of things like New Year's. I have respect for that. And you should too. There's nothing wrong with respecting a ritual. Nothing wrong with it at all. Nothing wrong with it. If the men are clocking out of the ritual, that should be every type of warning, siren, and alarm known to man going off that your economy is about to shrink permanently. Not a recession where it goes down and then it recovers. Know that your economy is about to start shrinking. It's about to start contracting. That no amount of deprivation is going to force the men to inject themselves as much as they used to. And the first ones who will suffer for it are going to be the females, because if she was raised to be daddy's little princess, the problem is daddy ain't going to be taking care of her romantically. It's going to have to be another male who does that. And if the males have logged out, then she is going to start to crumble as a female, which is exactly what we see today. Exactly what we see. I've been warning you for years and years about Valentine's Day, and here we are on Valentine's Day, and the females, the numbers are going down to the ones who even think they could get a bouquet of roses. A very simple gesture that doesn't really cost a man much of anything. Used to be a given. That used to be a given. It no longer is at any level. College age males, 20-somethings, 30s, 40s, 50s, it's no longer a given. And you think it's going to improve from here? You think it gets better from here? Okay. However, you might disagree. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and throw up the link to the Zoom in the chat room here. I had some folks last week who said, Jason, you should have done the poll just for members or whatever. You have it open to the public. A bunch of dudes who, the problem with opening things to the public is, let's just be honest, there's a certain segment of the male population is just shiftless. They're not going to do anything no matter what. They could be with the perfect woman and he doesn't produce anything of significance for himself, much less for anybody else. But that's what they say there. That's what they say. So we got the room open tonight to the members. If you want to give me a call on Zoom, you can go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and open it up for you here now. I know it's Friday the 13th. And what I'm saying is the bad luck may have already arrived. The bad luck is probably already here. If nobody told you, the bad luck is probably already here. Were you prepared and ready for this? A situation that gets perpetually worse, perpetually more lame. I don't think you really want a world where the males become uncompetitive. Now, you got to understand, for the bombed out, aged out, ragged out females, they want everybody to suffer. Hell yeah, tell them niggas sit down. We don't need them. For a female who doesn't get anything already, yeah, she wants things to burn because she wants everyone to be just as unhappy as she is. I wonder if the rest of you feel the same damn way. I wonder if the rest of you agree that that's the best you can do, or that that's the best you aspire to. How many of you thought that this is the way it was going to turn out? Because this becomes a bellwether for other things. You have one day on the calendar reserved specifically for your romantic feelings and things like that. Okay, it might be a bit of a corporate contrivance, but it's there. And people are not backing off of it because they have an issue with corporate contrivances. That's the problem. The men are not saying that they've backed off of Valentine's Day because it's a corporate contrivance. They're saying that they're backing off Valentine's Day because they no longer see any benefit. They feel disrespected. They feel taken advantage of. They feel like the women really are just man-hating and with contempt, and that it's about what you can use a man for, not his value intrinsically, that most of these women don't actually like men. They like what they can get, and they just so happen to have to get it from a man, but that actually in reality, the women don't like the men. That we have two generations of females now that they really don't like men. Can't say they like women either because look how catty they are with women, but that truthfully speaking, they don't like men. Okay. So what happens when the day comes that the men become convinced to believe you? Did anybody ever question or wonder what will be the result if the men start taking you at your word? What's going to be the result if the men start taking you at your word by your actions that you don't like men, you just like what you can exploit and leech off of them? Do the men still keep showing up? Well, I suppose if you tell yourself that your sex organ is so irresistible, that that's going to be the case. Here's the problem, ladies. Child support court and divorce courts are full enough of males that should have disproven you of that fallacy. If that was actually the truth, please tell me what in the hell is going on in the child support court and divorce court then, if that's the case. All these women who claim that men cheat all the time. If your sex organ was so irresistible, explain to me why women say that that's the rule, that men eventually end up, no matter what, sleeping with somebody else. If yours is the bomb and is irresistible and is like no other and is irreplaceable, if that's a true thing, then please explain all these other factors to me. Because these other factors seem to refute that. When you take a look at your amusement parks, when you take a look at your vacation spots, this is powered by men. Okay, but it's not just powered by any man. It has to be powered by a motivated one. It has to be powered by a motivated one. That's a requirement. So I guess that they were just assuming that men would just stay motivated by default. That just so long as men were breathing, well, it's in a male's nature to be competitive. So men are going to keep working for it no matter what. I think now they're just starting to understand, yeah, that's a bad assumption. It gets even worse when you consider the math. If a third of the males have not had sex in a year, well, that tells you they checked out of competitiveness altogether. Here's the problem. Do you think that number is going to go down if the current environmental and social circumstances don't change? The males aren't just doing this out of nowhere. They're doing this because they do not like the current social environment. Well, if the current female social environment does not change, and if that's what made the numbers go down to what they are now, you think those numbers are going to not continue going down if circumstances and conditions don't change? You think the conditions can stay the same, but that the numbers are not going to keep going down? You think that's what it is? You think that's what it's going to be? Women love attention. Women love flex, and women love status. A woman can't flex, and a woman has no status without a man. The amount of work that you do as a female does not matter to other women. Let me say it again. You can stunt around other women, but the only way you can stunt around other women if you're a woman is if you got a quality male. That's the only way that's going to work. Other women are not impressed by your income. Other women are not impressed by the car you drive as a woman. So you can't flex to them. Other women are not impressed. The only thing that impresses other women is if you have a man who gives you the royal treatment. It doesn't impress other women that you got to go buy your own royal treatment. She's like, hell, I could do that. What impresses other women is if you have a man who values you to the extent that he would. And even more, if that man is equally desired by the women on all the levels, not just one. A financial trick, anybody will take him. A man who actually is not a trick, he is just very well built and he values, and you have to qualify for who receives it from him. That's what has value. That's what has value there. I want to say another brief word here to the men. While I'm on the subject here tonight, I want to say a brief word to the men. There might be a few married dudes who jump up. I'm like, dude, you might want to just sit. You might want to just sit this one out. To the married fellas sitting up there who might want to sit up and brag, I saw one fella, I mean, this is such a tired old trope. It really is. Saw one fella talking about his woman, when his wife married him, that was the last day that she needed to go to work. Fellas get on the internet because they know that saying little sucker stuff like that gets a little quick, fast attention. First of all, he hasn't confirmed it. None of these guys who say that, none of them prove it. But even if they could, I hate to break the news to you fellas, but you have to pay.
Damn! And deal with it, nigga!
Every married male that I have seen who tries to brag that his woman didn't have to work anymore after she married him. I'm like, dude, I'm looking at you. I believe you when you say that at least you had to do that because, yeah, you have to do it. Yeah, fellas like you got to do that. You don't have a choice in the matter. You didn't do that because you wanted to. You did that because she wasn't going to stick with you any other way. You get taxed. You have to run around like a chicken with your head cut off. You have to subsidize the lifestyle inflation. You have to do that. She's not going to stick with, that's the only way she would ever stay with you. That's the only thing that got her to stop because all of her preferred options wouldn't do it. The men she actually desired and was attracted to, they wouldn't do it. So by the time she gets to you, she's like, okay, here's my list of demands. And you said, yes, indeed, I negotiate with terrorists.
Nigga, please.
So, yeah, you have to pay. You don't have a choice in the matter. You got to give it up. And here's the crazy thing. None of us, N-O-N-E, none of us have seen a fella yet who was running around bragging about who he was married to that we thought was worth $1 million a year of effort and productivity. I put up a post on Facebook about that. We have yet to see a female that's worth a fella making $1 million a year. I'm like, you got to make $1 million a year to have that? We're taking a look at the chick you got. It's like, okay, so you had to make $1 million a year to get that. You had to make $500,000 a year for that. You had to make $250,000 a year for that. And when we take a look at her, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for $250,000 of feminine value, status raising. Because if that's what it costs for you to be with her, if it costs a man $250,000 a year to be with a woman, then that woman should have him looking like $1 million a year when she's out with him. And yet you can't tell me the last time you saw a female on social media who wasn't doing it for a living who met that standard. Fellas buying $400,000 houses for a female who looks like she's about worth $5,000, and they're buying houses for the guys who do it. So fellas, there's a reason why you don't see married men trying to flex very much, because they know that we know. There's not really anything there to flex about, because the first thing we're going to do is take a look at your woman and ask ourselves, is she worth that level of effort? Is she worth that? And the real issue is not for the marriage numbers. The real issue out here is for the interest numbers. You need young men to be highly motivated. Most older men, they get over the age of 45, 50. That's it. They're done competing. They're trying to figure out how to get their ass to a couch somewhere so they can sit down with a remote control and decompress from the last 25, 30 years of labor. Sitting out here in the sexual marketplace, that's a young woman's game. Sexual competition is a young woman's game. Well, guess what? Social competition, socioeconomic competition is a young man's game. By the time, for the most part, when a man gets in his 50s, the overwhelming majority are not trying to figure out how to double their income. They're trying to figure out how to make this $250 do what it do. After all their life's bad experiences, there's not really very much you can do to convince them that a female is worth that level of effort, because he's been doing that for 20, 30 years. He's like, yeah, I'm burnt on that. And you think you're going to give him a swift kick in the ass at 45 or 50, and all of a sudden he wasn't running like a racehorse for the previous 25, 30 years, but he's going to start doing it now simply because you are unhappy with the lack of productivity he has? You think that's going to do it? Okay. Let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick. All right, we got Prince out of Richmond over here on Zoom. What's on your mind, Prince?
Jason, yeah, you're correct, but not even a lot of the older dudes. I'm an older dude. I'm 57. We're not running after women like that. I was at a restaurant today, a place I frequent, and women, I don't know. This woman what I do, right? And I'm just sitting there. I know the owner, and I'm talking to him a little bit, and he going back to handling some business for me, and she's doing everything to get my attention. I can see, okay, you look decent, as we would say, for your age, right? You know, that's not a compliment, right? And it's like, I wonder, and I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, is monogamy a turnoff for women? And I hope I'm being clear, because it seems like they say they want it, but once they get it, they lose interest, sexual desire, and drive. Or did I state that right?
I think the female idea of monogamy and what they expect from it is different than the way men define it.
Please clarify.
Women want a man that other women want.
Yes.
That is what enhances a man's value. When she sees that there's competition from other females, because I think a lot of people get it wrong. What she realizes that if this is once again, this is leapfrogging. This is, jumping the line. If I can get him, I don't have to figure out or level up to stunt on other females. I've already gotten there.
Right.
So if he's already got a bunch of other women who are interested in him, that's it. You automatically solved your attention and clout chasing goal immediately. So you see, but what you're saying, what happens there is you have to accept a contradiction. Because by definition, if he's desired by other women, that seems to conflict with monogamy.
Yes.
So you want him to be desired not just by one female, but by all these other chicks. Okay, well, what type of personality is he displaying that does that ignites that response in other women? So by definition, you want a man with a polygamous personality, but a monogamous behavioral practice.
Two are mutually exclusive. Impossible.
He thinks and presents himself in a polygamous way, but he responds monogamously when females come on to him. He's going to respond monogamously.
That's
so
like a
he's
faker
the
and a
he's
fraud.
the one enticing them, and if they respond, then he's going to say no. Now, by the way, once again, in goofy gynocentric culture, remember that may make sense to females when you think about it, because that's the way females operate.
A tease. She want a man to be a tease.
Exactly. So they're projecting onto men that which females do or their value. They're projecting that.
Wow. That's the energy drainer. And given the fact that I like how you do the litmus test of what's going on and you deal with the conditions on the ground. When you saw this, were you shocked when you noticed that the women said, I don't expect to get any flowers? What they residing to saying, you know what? I don't know. Did they lose? Or what are they saying? I surrender? Or we just at a state of no man's zone. We don't know what to do.
Here's the thing. I would be interested to know when they start gauging, okay, this is what's going to be spent on Valentine's Day. I would be interested to know exactly what they're counting in there. Because if you're counting every restaurant that's open on Valentine's Day as part of the Valentine's Day economy, I'm like, oh boy. I don't know if that's actually a fair or accurate way of gauging it. What I will say is take a look at your social media timeline. Women have no problem posting every damn thing they eat or whatever. If Valentine's Day was popping, that's what you would see.
Exactly.
They do it every other day of the year if something of significance occurs. If they're not saying anything and they're not presenting their evidence, I suggest to you that that is your proof that ain't nothing happening. And we already know we're in the midst of an economic slowdown to begin with here, not just because you got a goofy ass president, but among other things, I think you have a perfect storm brewing that really can't really tolerate a bunch of outside factors weighing down on top of it, but you're getting it. So, yeah, you have a lot of females out here who have just been so spoiled, nobody's corrected them, that now they're expecting men, they're looking for a man to respond like a woman does.
Yes.
So they want that so that she can fulfill her fantasy of having her cake and eating it too. I want a fella to prove that he's desired by a bunch of other women, but if they make a move on him, I want him to say, oh no, I didn't really want to do that.
Straight up schizophrenic. That's straight up what then he said, oh, now you're deceiving me. You pretend to be somebody that you weren't. That's a whole bunch of drama. And ladies, you I don't know, trying to get a man to think like them. Do you think that that who you said that the women killed Valentine's Day? Would you take any responsibility in the fact that you bring an awareness to the way the game is played and how women think? Would you take some responsibility? Could it be the pandemic? What were some of the major factors you think that was the turning point?
Well, I think I'm a very small cog in a very giant machine otherwise. So, not that I've been, irrelevant or whatever. Just ask Pearly things. What? But definitely the society has changed. The society has changed. Look, back during the baby boomer civil rights generation, the men were doing most of the work and one income took care of the whole family at the middle, not just at the level, the middle class level. So what was expected of men plus what they would receive was different. I didn't say what they expected versus what they received. What was expected and what they received. Now, Cinderella has existed as a story for decades and decades, but why? Well, that's women's Prince Charming fantasy. Prince Charming has always been the same dude. He is rich, he is tall, he is handsome, he is personable, he is popular. That archetype has always been it. That's right there. All those things right there. That's the female's perfect male right there. All right. Well, that's all nice and all, and you can want that. But in the real world, what actually comes to the door? So women wanted it, but they were practical about what they could actually get. They didn't go around trying to impose their fantasy life on the real world.
Because they weren't on social media like that. They were actually
they didn't have social media back then at all. But the point was they didn't have somebody feeding fantasies in their heads and telling them, no, you've been changing yourself all this time. The only problem is that you weren't demanding it. And they were more practical. They understood the math is against your little goofy ass, and you're going to be left without a chair when the music stops if you attempt to pursue that. What has happened, though, is that we've created all these fantasy systems. Fantasy systems that respond to whatever it is you want. So these are not things that have been imposed on people. It's a machine that's feeding you your heart's desire. When you take a look at your social media timeline, that's your heart's desire. The guy who created TikTok, I mean, he said it. Their algorithm was built from the ground up to respond to you. So and if nobody's ever said it to you all like this before, that's what it is. It's giving you your heart's desire. You take a look at the discovery page on your Instagram. That's going to be a highlight of your biggest and best stuff. You know what's not there? A bunch of negativity.
Right.
I want you all to take a look at your TikTok timelines, your Instagram timelines. There's not a bunch of negative stuff there. They're not feeding you that. They are like the Black Mercy from the Superman comics. They're feeding you your heart's desire. Well, the problem is the real world does not give you your heart's desire. You can go fight and work for it, but it doesn't give you that. And you're certainly not entitled to it. So what happens when you try to impose that on other people? Well, back then, women didn't do that. Today, they've made a culture of doing so, even if they're just outright lying. Shout out Brittany Renner. So this is what you're stuck in right now, is somebody desperately trying to construct a Prince Charming fantasy because they got entitlement issues, or their dad or their hood rat mama or some dummy set up here and said that. Now they're out here in the real world, filled to the gills with frustration.
Yes.
Lying to men is a standard part of the culture because this is not the guy you actually wanted. He is a big downgrade and a big disappointment from what you originally set out for. But he's the best you can do. Shout out Cardi B. So you're going to have to try to pull the wool over his eyes and make him believe that you were waiting on him all this time.
That's such a contradiction in itself. Cardi B was with she left him because he was dealing with other women and got with a man that's having baby with several women at one time. So how's that an upgrade?
But she found out what reality really, her fantasy of what was waiting for her out there was far different from the reality.
Oh,
she
no.
didn't have to face the reality until she tried to leave. And let's be clear, when she talked to Call Me Daddy, she was sitting there admitting that she was fishing for Offset's replacement while she was still sitting there with him. All that time when she's talking about putting her marriage back together, she was actually doing exactly what you thought. She didn't meet Stephon Diggs out of nowhere. She was sitting up here going to her DMs and talking to folks. She was outside back while she claimed she was inside. Offset told the truth the first time. Hey, y'all, she having sex with another dude. Y'all know how I come. Well, he was telling the truth. Hey, y'all, she messing with another fella. Pregnant with my kid, and she talking to another dude.
Wow.
And when she got on Twitter Space or Instagram or whatever it was, she just straight up lied. No, you were doing that. Yeah, you were. Later, she put a post talking about, I did. Well, okay. Well, yeah, that's what it was the whole time. So, as women, they have a standard that they're looking for. What I'm saying is that the first problem we have is we're not allowed to be honest. We're not allowed to be honest. We tell the biggest, ugliest, homeliest, most undesirable females that you're a 10, as opposed to putting the damn smack down on that idiocy so they can be practical. You are a below average chick, damn average. You ain't average at best, you're below average. Okay, this is the pool of males who is willing to work 60 hours a week to provide for a below average chick.
And they won't even tell each other that they below average. Now, Jason, can the women be detoxed if they choose to, if they say, I want to get out of this, or as long as the men are willing to keep lying to them, they're going to keep going along with it, and they're going to get these same results.
I mean, but we built a society now that reinforces their lunacy. So this has grown beyond just what the men do, or what men as a single variable in this equation. This goes beyond that. It goes beyond. You have a media, an academia, a government, laws at the local, state, and federal level that reinforce the psychoses. So this is an entire system that is built around that. Now, it uses the females because the goal is to enslave the males.
Of course.
So you empower the females over the males, and this is supposed to put the males under your thumb and whatnot. Now, the fellas at the top, they're all off at Epstein Island doing all manner of debauchery, and there are no rules for them, but they put a system in place to try to put rules on the rest of us. Rules that they are absolutely ignoring at every turn in every sick, psychotic, demented way imaginable. So what happens now is that you've constructed an environment that's made promises you can't keep. If your daughter is below average and you refuse to be honest with her, what is going to happen when the day comes that she finally has to accept that? Who is she actually going to be with? And furthermore, how many folk has she been with before she finally accepted that?
Exactly.
How much time is she wasted, and will there be anything available at all? Or is she going to be so far gone that you cannot correct it? Will she be so far gone that you can't course correct? Now what? And that's where we currently are. I am never supposed to stand up here in my adult life and have females telling me that they could not get a bouquet of flowers from a random stranger. That's not supposed to happen. Unless, of course, they have contaminated the environment so thoroughly across the board everywhere that now you're getting the same response uniformly everywhere. And this is not supposed to happen. This is an existential threat. Females are supposed to have it a bit easier, yes, but the reason that females are supposed to have it easier is because they're supposed to be making it easier for men. What they've gotten into is addicted to an exploitation fantasy where we'll make life hell for the men, and I sit back over here cheesing. And that my idea of a perfect relationship as a woman, my idea of a perfect relationship is where I get everything and I don't have to do anything for him. Now, that doesn't sound like love. That sounds like straight up hate.
Yes, because the women, we don't have to tell you, you know what to do. Because when the man is about to walk out the door, then all of a sudden you want to try to put on this feminine gestures and stuff. It's too late then. Because he said, hold on. Now all of a sudden you know exactly what was needed, but you're only providing it because you're in a state of crisis. And if you're in these situations where you are only doing it, responding based on what you desired, that's going to be a problem going forward. Because the men, here's the thing, what Jason keep talking about, a whole system that when I went and got my divorce back in 2011, now it was mostly white men now and some few white women. Now you got a whole bunch of younger black judges, females, but ain't a whole bunch of dudes going up in there. You understand? I told them, go over to the courthouse whenever you're doing and just sit. It's free to sit in there and listen to the things that are being said and look at the lack of shame that many women have when they're talking about the relationship with the man in the courtroom or the stuff that the lawyers say. They don't have no shame. Oh, well, Your Honor, I caught it in bed sleeping with this guy and this here and that there. They don't care. They don't have no embarrassment because they feel like the system is going to rule on their behalf. She came to my job and she attacked my boss. They don't feel no consequences. Please go down to your local court. I saw a woman, aesthetically, she looks like a 10. When she opened her mouth, I don't know who you dealing with. I'm like, my God, this woman has the brain of a bird. And I don't really criticize women like that. She is totally ignorant. I mean, just totally outside the courtroom acting a total buffoon outside the court. And I'm saying these things have turned men off. Unfortunately, the pornography, hopefully they don't make these sex dolls more human than these guys.
They will.
No.
They will.
My God, please, I pray not. Because, man, that's going to be it. That's going to be their out. The women.
Brother, I have watched in my lifetime, and I don't want to get too techno wonky with this, but I have witnessed in my lifetime. I mean, I understood the technological hurdles that you would have to overcome to make a serviceable, lifelike robot.
Oh, boy.
In my mind, the two biggest hurdles were servo motors and equilibrium. You'd have to solve those two things to get a robot to do what a human does. Now, we've evolved over the course of hundreds of thousands and millions of years. So you see, you've got this outrageously intricate system that creates the human body. To try to recreate that in a mechanical system that mimics what our musculature that fills up with blood and stuff like that, it's like that would be outrageously challenging to do, or so I thought. But when you take a look at Boston Dynamics and what they did with their dog, when you take a look at what Samsung has done with their robots, we're not on our way. We're already there. Because the joints on them used to be big and clunky. Man, they've gotten the joints, I'm talking about the elbow joints, the knee joints on these robots, they've gotten them smaller than human joints now. Smaller. So in other words, I know what they're doing, which is what I was talking about before. If you didn't have your epidermis and your muscular system, what would you have? A skeleton. That's the basic foundation. Everything else is going to be wrapped on top of it. Of course, the organs go inside of it, but the robot doesn't need organs. Now, does it? It needs a power source, but it doesn't need organs. So that's a big benefit when you're a robot. You don't need organs. You just need a power source, since you're not going to be processing food or things like that. So that's a big advantage. So everything we do now is going to be draped on top of the skeleton. So all we need is to maneuver and move the skeleton. Now we've got motors in the joints, in the fingers, in the neck. We got motors small enough now to be able to do the quick twitching motion that human beings' muscles do. Mm. We were already there with quick twitching movement when you had Boston Dynamics and the robots that could do backflips and land without falling over because they have an intricate gyroscope system. Now, we've had gyroscopes now for over a century. Yeah. But they were able to get a system that works so the robots can balance themselves. In case you all didn't know, as human beings, we're constantly balancing ourselves every second. If you're standing up, you're not just standing still, contrary to what you think. You're actually balancing yourself in minute ways every second. So if somebody pushes you, you're constantly course correcting. To get a robot to do that was quite a phenomenon. They did that 20 years ago. That was what they did 20 years ago. All they want to do now is get the basic skeleton down small enough that they can drape whatever exterior on it they want. And once they get the exterior in place, this machine for the average person will be indistinguishable from a person. If you don't believe they can get the skinning correct, Go to YouTube and go take a look up CIA face masks.
Scare you to death.
Yeah, if you don't believe me, go look up CIA face masks. They've had those since World War II.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, now you know what those look like with a human wearing it. Imagine what it's going to look like with a robot wearing it. Will you be able to, a robot wearing a suit, can you tell the difference? A robot wearing a suit who's using motion capture to replicate the way you walk.
I'm going to use a magnet to make sure she's female.
My problem is that might not be enough, but...
Oh, God.
Yeah, because if they start making parts out of plastics, polymers, composites, remember, carbon fiber is not plastic, nor is it metal. It's got the strength of metal, but it's neither plastic nor metal.
You're right.
So a magnet's not going to help. X-ray might not help. X-ray might be the only thing that could do it, but just the problem is you're not going to meet them like that. To the naked eye, they will be indistinguishable from another human being. Now, my prediction is that, like with all other things, first they will go to the rich. It will be the wealthy who get these first. They will get the first generation of what they call simulacra. They'll get the first generations of them. It'll take time for consumer models to make it out there, if they actually want you to have those at all. They might not want you to have those, period. So I don't know if we'll ever actually get to a point where consumers get it, because I can imagine them just not wanting you to have one. That it would be like a Bugatti.
Yeah, they usually do it in military research first, because we playing video games in the late 80s. Very high tech.
Right, but what I'm saying is that imagine, okay, how much would it cost? How much would the general public pay for one? Now, how much would people who can afford a Bugatti pay for one? If you give them exclusivity, how much would they pay for that? So that's my, back of the napkin prediction. But the bottom line is, brother, oh no, we are going to have fully serviceable, fully indistinguishable robots. Jason Wynn, if you want the scary prediction is within the next 2 decades. We will not get past 2050. Within the next 2 decades, you'll have it. And I'm talking about fully serviceable, whole 9 yards. Sits, walks, swings its hips, holds a conversation with you, whole 9 yards. And that there will only be slight quirks that might give it away. There might be some slight quirks that give it away. But other than that, no.
Fellas, don't do it. Please don't do it. They're not gonna have culture though, David. I'm sorry, Jason. I'm sorry, Jason. I'm sorry about that. I get
culture, brother. Culture. What is culture? Culture is a set of norms. It's a set of practices. You can teach a program that.
God.
The whole point of long language models is to filter information down, to distill it down to what is most applicable in a specific instance. So when you start looking for culture, away we go. The other thing is, remember, it's data. And what they want to do is reduce life itself down to a set of data points. So everything from your love of barbecue to your interest in motor vehicles, what will be missing is emotional impetus. But once again, that can be programmed. Because remember, they're selling you an experience. The experience only needs to be indistinguishable from reality. It doesn't have to be genuine. So she doesn't have to genuinely like barbecue. She just needs to convince you she does. Now, here's a more scary part of it, Prince. When you think about it, is that any different from what you're experiencing right now?
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Don't, because if they make them customizable, women, you in trouble.
The robots are faking if the women are already been faking their way through it for thousands of years, faking liking you, faking being interested in you because her better options were not available, so she's stuck with your lame ass, but you're the last train leaving, so she has to convince you. She doesn't believe any of this, but she's not here to convince herself. She's here to convince you because there's something she needs from you. Well, most men are complaining now that that's the situation they're in today. So how offended would you be by this machine? And man, when you say for the fellas don't do it, you're going to have a hard sell there. I want to invite you all to go see a movie called Machina.
I was afraid to see that movie.
Yeah. Well, you can go, for those of you, it's Machina, Machina. It's not Machina, it's Machina.
Too realistic.
Okay. But that's a glimpse into the future. Please remember, you got the richest man in the world hell-bent for leather and the richest corporations on the planet, not just in America, but in Asia. And you think we love robots over here in America? That's already off and going in Japan and Korea to the point that their birth rates have already started to plummet.
That's what I'm about to say. What about our population?
What about it? I just saw a report that came out today that said that the government is estimating that we're going to have more Americans dying than Americans born by 2030. Was it 2030 or 2050? But I want to say they said 2030. We're going to start seeing more dying than born. So we're already getting ready to go over that cliff here in just a few moments. We're not, it's already happening in Japan, already happening in Korea. Going to be happening in China and Mexico before you get too long, though they'll be last. Africa seems to be the only place that's kind of holding out. But remember, that's because children are the investments of the poor. Yes. So the more impoverished you are, the less likely it will be. Or if you're very rich and you just have very agreeable people around you, then I guess if she's willing to go ahead and have 7 or 8 kids, but it's not going to offset what's happening to the average person. It's the median that is saying they don't want children. Not the very rich 1%. And not the overwhelmingly poor, the bottom 25%. It's that big 50% in the middle. Those are the ones that are backing off of it. They're not rich enough to be where it doesn't bother them, and they're not poor enough where they don't own anything except their sex organs. So they pay a penalty for having children, socially, mentally, emotionally. So that's what happens there. So if you want a glimpse into the future, you take a look at Machina, because, and I talked about this years ago, the Japanese in virtual reality, they were already having video games where their whole thing was focused on getting the female computer generated characters to do little nuances, little things. It's not about having big busting cleavage hanging out and she's just being this sex kitten. One of the most effective ones that they said that they had was a more simple one. She's just sitting on a park bench with you. She gets a little, what you would probably consider uncomfortably close, but she's a little close to you, and she keeps calling you sensei.
Oh my God, teacher.
So, and she's not making any overt sexual overtones or anything. She's just really just being very quiet and friendly. And that's really all it was. Just little nuances like that. She's looking you in the eyes. She leans over closer to you. Nothing overwhelming. What I'm saying, those are not major things. Cleavage and BBLs is major. Just sitting there and leaning closer to you, that's a nuance. That's a detail. That's a fine detail that you notice it. It's a small detail in the bigger picture of things, but you notice that. And what I'm saying is that's psychology. What are you going to do when you have a robot programmed to overwhelm your psychology? Well, you would probably have stronger defenses depending upon what your other options are. If biological females are, on the whole, incredibly unpleasant to be around, that they've become a species that's made themselves just serially unwantable and unpleasant, you're going to be psychologically overwhelmed by it's the environment that did it to you. This machine is now simply going to step in and fill a void and take advantage, but it's the environment that did it.
I know, but what are your key principles, Jason? And maybe I'm robot cock blocking. I don't know. But fellas,
Nigga, what?
listen, that robot cannot have passion for you. Don't listen to Jason. Right, Jason?
It's not me you don't have to listen to. Don't listen to Elon Musk. But look, the bottom line is, sure, there'll be things that'll be missing, but that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about something different. If you have a machine that is indistinguishable from reality, imagine fellas finally having their stunting moment. They get to walk through the mall with a chick that looks like Halle Berry circa 1992. That looks like a Marital circa 2015. We can go down the list. That looks like Lori Harvey circa 2020. Imagine being able to walk through the mall, walk through the store. It walks perfectly. It knows how to walk in heels. It walks better in heels than most of the biological females.
Jason,
imagine it being able to know the difference between a Fendi bag and a Gucci bag. Imagine it being able to walk up to the table at a restaurant. It can excuse itself to go to the bathroom and walk back on its own and sit down at the table as dainty as it pleases. Imagine a machine that can do that. Well, I'm telling you, there are literally hundreds of billions of dollars going into the research to do that now. And just very, very briefly, because I might not get to say this ever again. By the way, folks, do you all realize that all of this stuff is really a product of the Department of Defense?
What? Damn! Nigga, what? Lie.
Nigga, what?
Lie. What? Damn! Lie.
Wrong. By the way, all this is Department of Defense. Facebook, Palantir, yes. Instagram, Boston Dynamics. Remember, Boston Dynamics was paid for by DARPA. But then again, so was the internet. So, folks, the internet, Facebook, Instagram, Palantir, AI, and all this other stuff we've been talking about here tonight, by the way, brought to you by the United States government and the Department of Defense. And no, I'm not overstating it. And no, I'm not exaggerating. That's literally things that they made. Literally. When you take a look at the origin of what Facebook is, yes, there's a government program specifically. Y'all go look it up for yourselves. Go look it up for yourselves. But the bottom line is that hundreds of billions of dollars have been paid into this, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And why would they? Imagine you getting into a relationship with a female that's not a female. You think Jeffrey Epstein had it easy? Imagine a swarm of these things out there. Imagine them. And remember, for most prostitutes and strippers, the men who come to them are looking for a conversation. Because the women have become so completely unwantable and unpleasant. So the robot, in many cases, is going to have it easy. He's looking to talk to someone, and she's going to be as nice and friendly and demure. And will he ever be able to figure it out? Will he ever be able to? And I submit to you that the only thing that would probably hurt them is a skin suit. So just flesh on flesh is probably going to be difficult. But as far as one just walking into the room and people are not allowed to touch them, if they're not able to get close enough to tell that that's not human skin, that's rubber, if they're not, or silicone or whatever, if they're not allowed to get close enough to it, I would challenge you that they be able to make the distinction. And at that point, I mean, this is going to take Honey Pot to a whole nother level. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I hope there's something that can be done so that our women don't become obsolete. But I do appreciate the fact that you're dealing with this issue about Valentine's Day and things that need to change and changing women's attitude and stop reinforcing each other's behavior. Because like Jason say, there's no woman that's going to buy you $1,000, $10,000 gift. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, Yeah, folks, brave new world out there. Brave new world. Ready or not, here it comes. And this, for the ladies out there and whatnot, it's like, okay, you think decades ago, comedian Dennis Miller, he had a book called The Rants. Dennis Miller had a book called The Rants, R-A-N-T-S. He was ranting. And this is back in the 90s, I believe. And in his book, he was talking about virtual reality back then and talking about virtual sex. And he said, if you think things are bad right now, and this is back in the 90s, he said, if you think things are bad right now, when men have the opportunity to sleep with Pamela Anderson from circa 1991 or Cindy Crawford from circa 1985 or Christy Brinkley circa 1985, it's going to make crack look like Sanka. If you think the fellas are bad on OnlyFans now, do you think the OnlyFans customers would turn down a Machina? Oh, they'll tell themselves it's just a toy, but do you think that the OnlyFans customers are really going to turn down a simulacra? Think about that for a few moments. Take a look at the money they spend on OnlyFans and everything else, because those would be the prime customers right there. You think, would you be willing to bet your life that they're going to turn that down? I wouldn't. All right, let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom right quick. I think we got Timmy up here on Zoom. What's on your mind, Timmy?
Hey, how are you doing? That's interesting when you were talking about the robot. Okay. I'm not sure if I spoke about this in any time on your broadcast, but I remember that I was telling you about a professor who we got into a little debate regarding AI, and I spoke about how the man in China was put in an asylum because he fell in love and was actually having sexual relationship with an AI. And the professor actually agreed with it. Now, this is a professor in IT. So he's teaching networking in IT in a school. This was about 2 years ago. And he was trying to defend how AI should have rights. And I remember you spoke that, these white folks are going to try to push rights for AI. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but everybody, the kids, they actually backed me up and said that was actually sick. I embarrassed the teacher because I'm like, what's the logic of? Huh?
For now. The children will back you up on it for now. Remember, those same children will tell you that a boy can be a girl.
That's right.
And if I can convince you that a boy can be a girl, then I can literally get you to go along with anything. Not just convince you, I can get you to go along with it. So, yes, ma'am, I hear the answer they're giving you right now, but please remember, these are the same ones who will tell you that trans women are trimp women. Because you know full well there'll be some who tell you, no, that's not real, but you'll have others who'll be arguing you into the concrete and say they got rights too. Which they do, by the way, but that doesn't change the fact that this is not a real thing.
Well, these particular kids, they don't agree with that. Some of them, they don't agree with that. But there was one white girl who's like, how are you going to try to protest rights for AI or technology, which doesn't make any sense? And people now don't even have rights. Like, this is a professor, just to remind you. And I remember you spoke on how a lot of your academia are degenerates, and I absolutely believe you. Now, I say I'm kind of split, but I just thought it was just crazy how you were speaking about the robot, the sex dolls. And
well, here's the thing. You're kind of mixed. There's a lot you all might be missing there, because it's not about academia being perverts.
Okay.
It's deeper than that. First of all, let me go back to the first thing you were talking about there about we have a professor who says that AI should have rights. Well, we were already prepared for this now 27 years ago. There was a little movie that changed the American landscape of movie making forever. It was called The Matrix, starring Keanu Reeves. Now, here's the thing. The thing is that most of you saw the Matrix movie. If you really got off into it like I did, you followed everything that the Wachowskis put out after that. The next thing that they put out was The Animatrix. I think you can actually go watch that on YouTube.
What was it called?
The Animatrix, because it's animated. Get it? Anyway, they got together with some Japanese animators and made an anime version of some short stories that actually filled in more of the story of the world of the Matrix. Long story short, the first thing they have is it was a story called The Second Renaissance. And it explained how the earth ended up getting decimated and the machines ended up taking over. And part of the story was that there were humans, once you started having AI and robots programmed with AI, you started having people who were marching and protesting and saying that the robots robots have rights. They even had it called the Million Machine March, so they started, that's what it said in the Animatrix. And it's like, well, it sounds weird and whatnot. Well, it's like, yeah, the problem is there will be people who will actually go with it. Because what they will do is try to give you a dilemma. What is consciousness? What is alive? And yes, your professor's going to say things like that. So we're not having a physical discussion. We're having a philosophical one. And the problem with philosophy is that philosophy is subjective, not objective. So yes, when you start having physicists and biologists looking at you, Dr. Degrassi, looking at you, a man who can tell you about how it's silly for you to think that the world is flat, but that biological males can compete in female sports. What's the biological difference between males and females? Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, musculature, sir, bone density. Hello. We have a man who will have you spellbound when he talks about lunar cycles and what would happen if the moon went away and physics and how far away Voyager 1 is from Earth and why light speed isn't really accomplishable. And then he'll sit right there. That same man will sit there and tell you about how trans women are really women. And the same man. Mm-hmm. So we're not that's what happens when people who you thought were trained in physical sciences. And it's like, okay, great. At least we don't have to worry about opinion over here. Here they come. Now, this goes to the next part. You're worried about the, quote, degenerates. The thing is, these advances are being accomplished by the bookworms and the nerds who are locked off in their rooms. Their lack of interaction with other people has made them experts at avoiding other people. So what they're now doing is embarking on a mission to construct an artificial world.
Makes sense.
One that they have control of and significance and relevance in. So this is what happened to your disaffected nerds and geeks of the last 4 decades. They have been super hard at work creating technologies, and then the thing that we didn't think they could do, but them little bastards went to work till they did it, miniaturizing it. You want to know why the world is addicted to their cell phones today in a manner in which you and I couldn't have been back in the 80s? Because back then the damn cell phone was as big as a Coke bottle, and I mean a 2-liter. Now you have cell phones that are so shockingly small, we have to tell the manufacturers make them bigger so we don't lose them. Cell phones that literally can have the width of a credit card. What? In case you all haven't seen those.
I have not.
You can go look that up for yourselves. So the bottom line is we've miniaturized the technology and whatnot, so that means it's always there, always accessible. There's no reason you can't have it. That's why you got your cell phone with you, because before now you had this big clunky thing. Now your cell phone's one of the smaller things you have unless you want it to be bigger. So the technology is always with us, always present, always accessible, and what they really wanted, always calling your name. It's always calling out to you. Now, that's what those nerds did, all the way from, hell, Steve Jobs, really before him, to be totally honest, from IBM, Alan Turing, who created the Turing test. You can credit him with computers if you want to, but these were your disaffected nerds. That mathematician, was his name, Nash, A Beautiful Mind. This is what happened to them folk you pushed off in the closet. They're not in touch with society, the outcasts and whatnot. They weren't just sitting in there twiddling their thumbs. They've been hard at work. If you won't give them the world, they'll take it. Because, by the way, did you notice what I told you all? Simps are closet narcissists. You tell yourself because they look frail and unwantable, they're weak. And I'm like, no, actually, they are the most ravenous ones in the room. Because they've been in that closet making weapons that will even the odds. And when they come out, they're coming for blood.
Good point.
And that's exactly what you have. What better way to get even with the females who have treated you unkindly than to make females obsolete? Well, that all sounds harmless because females tend to talk stupid today. It all sounds harmless right up until you're elderly. Take a look at the nursing homes, people. The women are catching hell up in them places. That's what happens when you don't have a man and don't have kids and your girlfriends are all elderly and messed up and old too. You're a sitting duck. So you can talk stupid in your 20s when you're sitting in an air-conditioned job and you don't actually have to back any of this garbage up. When it's going to be just you, you're a sitting duck. And the numbers show it today, not in the far-flung future. We're already there. So what better way to get even with them than to make their whole species obsolete? It won't bother you. You didn't get any benefit from the girls when they were there. You won't get any liability or loss when they're gone. Now, they will, because the physics is always going to be physics, and it's going to be dangerous for them, and the danger quotient's about to skyrocket. Because it was a lot easier. It's about to damn near skyrocket. Remember, when females run out of money, the first thing they think about is hoeing. That's the first thing they resort to. They don't resort to, let me go get a PhD. They resort to, can I turn some tricks? But if we make you obsolete, now what?
That's crazy. Can I ask do a request? Because I was looking into something, and I'm in the military, so there's a lot of guys who are like, they have the passport energy, and they think like Asian girls are great. I've been doing some, not research, but I've been looking at some craziness. One, with a lot of the Asian men are complaining about the attitudes and the behavior.
They've been complaining about that. That's right. Not new.
But, well, here's another thing. That's a weird thing that has came to light where there's a culture of Asian women emphasizing themselves, meaning that they try to portray like an infant, like they would dress in like little girls' clothes, they would do their makeup and even get surgery to look like an infant, apparently. Yeah,
there's a lot of quirkiness that tends to go on in Asian society, particularly Japan and Korea. China has fought very hard to say, damn it, we gonna be the adults in the room. So they've kind of resisted that, but particularly in Japan and China, there's some quirks in their societies that tend to open themselves up to those kind of things.
Yeah, so then I saw this because it was an Asian man who was doing this documentary, and it was like show a picture of this Asian woman. She looked like a 15-year-old girl, but she actually is like a 20-year-old woman. And she had her white.
Okay, but what was her goal?
her goal was, I guess, to get a white man because it was a white man.
Okay.
And I would say that he's even might be a pedophile because it was like
Well, I mean, look here. The bottom line is I got to wrap things up, but here's the point. The passport thing works as long as the numbers of males going over are limited. Supply and demand. You are in demand as long as you are rare. You can't stay in demand if you're not rare. And if everybody's grabbing their passports and flooding the zone, guess what? You're not a novelty anymore, which is where they currently are right now, because they're not on their way to that. They're on their way right now. So the problem is that becomes a self-defeating prophecy. If they flood the zone, we're gonna all go get ourselves an Asian. First of all, the Asian chicks know this, so they see you coming. The only thing that's really keeping them in check is their governments. But no, beyond that, no. So if they flood the zone, everybody's catching up. Everybody's catching up. It's South America, Central America. There's no safe zone. There's enough of them out there. You're no longer rare. These Asian chicks are hip to the expat game to the point that now you have a bunch of YouTubers telling don't go over there because they're on to us. Yeah, they're on to you. Too many of you have gone. You're all on the internet. They can't get away from it on YouTube and every damn thing else. The Philippines, Taipei, Taiwan, the Middle East, everybody sees you. Everybody knows that there's that about the issues over here. And everybody's like, okay, how do I take advantage? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me see if I can get Robert up here on Zoom for me right quick. Let me get Robert up here. Okay, I see Brandon up here for a minute. Hang on, Brandon. Let me get you right quick. All right, Robert, what's on your mind?
Man, this is an excellent broadcast. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine just last night, and I was thinking about something that you said, and I reverted back to him when you said that a lot of our own people look at us through the eyes of white supremacy, right? And I'm looking at the situation no different than right where we are in Valentine's Day. And what I'm seeing is that they have obtained a little bit of power through the court system. Also in every area that they are predominantly in, right? So they have literally said, look, we've been granted this power. We're not going to relinquish this power. And even if it means our own self-destruction, hey, we're not going to give it up. And this is what I'm seeing, because even when I was talking about even in child protective services, which is predominantly women, they're granted a lot of chances. And I told him, I said, I feel like if men worked in those type of fields, that these people wouldn't have their children. And just even in the situation of the Valentine's Day thing, I feel that they have literally felt like they have the power and they're not going to give it up.
Well, remember, survival is the most basic of human instincts. And the real thing here is, well, Jason, what do you think is going to happen? Well, I mean, this is not going to be an extinction event. What it will be is a correction. Now, some corrections can be minor. Others have to be severe. What you're about to experience will be, I'm not going to say severe correction, but it will certainly be uncomfortable. Because what's been going on is not sustainable. It's not sustainable at all because it's coming at men's expense. And, this idea of having this masochistic hatred and whatnot, it's like, okay, well, being screwed up in the head is not going to change physical reality. So what you're going to witness is a correction. I can't give you an exact number on it. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say I think the environment is, for women is concerned, if men have a 25% pullback in benefits, I think once you see things hit a 25% pullback, I think that will be so severe. When you see that in marriage, in dating, in gifts, in home buying, if the men focus, instead of taking care of women and children, if the men instead say, you know what, the women are in charge of their own finances and we're just going to take care of ourselves as men, and our productivity will go to our benefit alone, because men are minimalists, women are maximalists, we're minimalists when it comes to survival, the discomfort for women is going to happen very, very quickly. Even the females talking about they're strong and independent. You're strong, independent, and masculine. There's nothing feminine about you. The ones who do that, they're the loudest, they're the most boorish, the most belligerent. So it's like, baby, you just turned into your own man. That's not a win. So at the end of the day, and the other thing is, the whole point of saying you're not trying to save them is so that you are not expending unnecessary energy. Somebody who's already a lost cause, you should not be focusing energy on trying to save them or help them. They're a lost cause. You let them go. They fall to their fate. That way you're preserving your energy, and furthermore, like I say, you're clearing the field. The problem with simps is that simps are looking for low-hanging fruit, so they go looking for somebody in distress because he thinks he's found a vulnerable one right here, and this will make his life easier. No, they both need to be stuck there together. So as long as they're empowered, the simps catch hell trying to be save and break the line. But I think that once you see a 25% pullback across the board in that thing, and with the numbers bearing it out, I think once you see that, it won't take 50 or 90%, much less 100. That will cause a situation so severe that most of the female population will lose its taste for listening to that nonsense at a broad scale anymore, because it's impractical and unworkable.
But I agree with you, but then comes into the effect of the chameleon effect, to where they're all on board and it doesn't even make any sense. Like when they can literally see that it's not working, they're still putting up a front like it actually is the truth. And I have my daughter now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm really breaking this down and saying, look, this is all smoke and mirrors, dog and pony. It's not real. And she's seeing it in real time, and she's getting it piece by piece nonetheless. But the whole effect of they're on board. When one says don't like men, they all on board with it. And I'm trying to get her to understand that that's just them just mimicking each other. They really don't honestly feel like that. When you catch them by themselves, they really don't feel like that. And I'm like, well, why are you even putting this out on the forefront if you really don't feel like that?
I mean, because you have a culture of it. Remember, cultures don't always rally around comfort. They don't always do that. So as a species, when you see folks go in one direction, you tend to follow them. So what ends up happening, you'd rather, if you see folks going, everybody else going another direction, even if you don't know why, just intrinsically you tend to follow that because you consider it to be safer for you all to get jumped on as a group as opposed to you being out there alone, even if you don't. So that tends to be the response that you have. The other thing is nothing's really happened to them severe. I mean, one of the things that have been worked is that they're complaining about a bunch of non-complaints. So it's nagging about a bunch of really inconsequential things. Well, that's a power too. When you take any inconsequential thing that happens to you and you've been given the power to magnify it to cosmic significance, well, you're trying to force everybody to pander to you. And so any little thing you have a problem with, we got to drop what we're doing to see about you. And meanwhile, you've been absolved of all adulthood and responsibility except for the things that you want to do. So the men do everything that needs to be done, and the women are being told you only have to do what you want to do. And anything you don't want to do, even if it's your responsibility, you go find the men and they need to take care of this. So you see this is your jobs. If you work in a manual labor job at a Home Depot or something, the females are trying to figure out how to get the men to do their jobs. So that's the kind of situation they're in. What will be required, however, is for men across the board, enough of them, to say, yeah, we're done with that. I think you've already passed the 10% mark where the national conversation changes, but I think it's going to take closer to doubling the current numbers, because what females will do and are doing is, okay, if things are not going their way, they're just going to play nice. So let me see if I can wiggle these butt cheeks enough to get some simp at the job to weaken and defect from the rest of you. So, okay, I had to be a little bit nicer to him than I really wanted to be. So, okay, I couldn't hard line it the way I wanted to. I got to be a little bit better, but see, I was able to break him off. So the real thing is when it becomes very, very difficult to do that. When it becomes where even the simps ain't moving. When that starts occurring, every alarm bell known to man's going to go off. when that happens.
Got you. Okay. That's fair enough.
Until then, we have more correction to go. Thank you very much. Give us a call tonight here. Let me see if I can get the man on Zoom right quick here. The fellow who really helped to set all this off for us here in the first place. All right, we got Brandon up here on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, what's going on, brother, man? I just want to make sure, can you hear me pretty good, man? Make sure I'm clear.
Yeah, we hear you.
Already, man. I just had to go ahead and call on in, though, man. That I appreciate you playing my playback, man. That was some dope stuff and meant a lot to me, man. So I just want to start off by saying that, man. And hopefully everybody just hopefully you understood what's going on out here on these streets, though, man. The simping days is over. You have made a great impact out here on these streets, man. Shoot, like I said, by hook or by crook, one way or another, the game got on out here, man. The game you spitting got on out here. It's resonated and it is working. Even if they ain't got all of it, you know what I mean, about, improving your credit and making sure that you have everything, your ducks in the line and in order, they have at least understood beyond a shadow of a doubt that money cannot buy you respect and it cannot buy you love. Nothing with your wallet will make you better in the eyes of a female at all. Now that doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying, or you can just be a broke dude and not be on your mission and not stay in your truth and not stay walking in a positive path, because you got to be able to feed your team. But giving out unearned benefits and unnecessary benefits and benefits, though, just because she cute, that does not improve your chances of, forget being in relationships, of her opening her legs. So if you came, go ahead and look. So the word is on out, though, shoot. Nothing, spending your money does not increase your chances of her opening her legs. So
well, let's not take it to that point. How about, because my idea behind it, and it's kind of hard to clarify to a certain extent. My idea behind it was not even taking it to that point. I just meant it simply as like a conversation starter. Just simply as an introduction. Conversations are just at that level. You see what I mean? But it's, from what you all were saying there, you all have come to the conclusion it's not even worth that part.
Well, no, it's not. It's not the part that's not worth that damn part. The part is, though, is that these females have sat out here, though, and, man, will be at the dinner table, though. You take them on out to dinner, though, and they'll be setting up a D appointment, though, while you sitting at the table with her. So it's not like those shooters. It's not getting you anything, not even sex. They take their pride in getting things from men and not even giving them sex and giving them simple sex. If it really was, Jason, if I was wrong, you wouldn't see so much of this going on, because a dude can sit up here and trick on off to a certain damn degree, depending on what level he's on. If really was taking a chick out to dinner, really did get you some sexual activities at the end of the night, though, then dudes wouldn't have a problem. The problem why you see the money pull back, because it's not. They understand that. Remember, it was females that came up with the idea of Netflix and chilling. That's a female creation. That's a female thing. They came up with that by the dudes that they wanted to have sex with, and that they knew they could not ask. They could not insinuate ever to ask them about any type of tangibles or even as simple as a damn date, because these dudes would not do it. As we sat back and said, it's only women are having sex with only about 20% of less than men. They are rotating them on out. So there's no reason, if they actually did come out and start talking about, I want to date at Ruth Chris, or I want to date at the Cheesecake Factory or something on else, they know these dudes ain't finna call them back. They have no reason to. They got too many other options. Why would a dude who's in that 20 percentile spend $300-400 on a damn dinner date for a female, though, shoot, when he's got 4-5 others sitting up here saying, you ain't gotta take me nowhere, just get over here. I'm shaved, ready to go ahead and go. What you spending, what you even spending money for. And dudes know this. They know this without beyond the shadow of a doubt. You are just because these females, you know how females go ahead and do. You were speaking about this on earlier in the broadcast. Females, they'll sit up here and charge one and try to have double standards. They'll have sex with one dude for free and then try to get another dude to have pay for things. So it's already on out the box, Jason, though, that none of this stuff is gonna go ahead and help these damn men. It's just out there. Like I said on the other broadcast, man, shoot, you either coming out here though, shoot, with your drawers on off, ready to go ahead and go, give me some of that Netflix and chill action, or it's nothing. That's just lets you know that she does not respect you or your time, or she does not want you. And the dangerous part is, like I said before, though, shoot, if she does come at you and want something, you is willing to pay. Oh no, that's the worst part, because now it's about his pleasure. It's not about he's not trying to buy into a relationship or into any type of love, because he already knows it's just prostitution. Now you're talking about a consumer and a seller standpoint. The consumer ain't gonna buy nothing that it don't think is worth it, or at least they're not gonna be a repeat buyer if they don't think that it's worth it. So the worst proposition that these females is coming in is trying to sit up here and think they can just sell booty or sell themselves from a prostitution standpoint. Oh no, that's the worst point. Because then you even heard some females talking about, though, they need to make prostitution legal, or these sex houses though legal, like they have in Amsterdam. I've actually seen females get on podcasts and say that, and I'm like, oh no, there's another side to that. Now we finna actually see if you got good booty or not. Without the love or buying into relationship thing, though, hell, you gonna get what you're worth. And if you ain't worth, and you ain't got the goods, like you tell yourself you got the goods, oh baby, you finna get told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth without no pause about it. Yeah, this ain't good. So I'm finna go take my money somewhere else where I can get a better damn deal, though, or at least my money's worth. Because you ain't worth the money. And who said that money, and we all know the average price out here is $40. So we got to keep it all the way a buck on out here with these chicks, though, man. No, shoot, they is out here just doing the most. And even some of these internet I'm sorry, not internet, but dating sites at the time. Remember the broadcast you did about a year or so ago on about, I think it was Bumble, if I'm not mistaken, or one of these dating sites, though, that was telling women, hey, don't be celibate, get out here, because they had to lay off half of their damn staff because they weren't making money, because the men weren't showing up buying the premium subscriptions to actually meet females. And if a dating site ain't got you making at least anonymous hookups, then it ain't gonna prosper. So the dating site really just said, hey, y'all women ain't giving up enough booty on out here. Don't sit up here and be celibate. Get on out here. They were literally trying to tell the women to get out there, just pretty much, though, like, hey, you got to go ahead and get naked. Otherwise, those shoes, the men ain't buying these premium subscriptions. They're not doing any damn thing. They're not spending the money, making it more profitable for us. So you know what, those shoes, you just got to get on your job. You know what you is. So it's been bad on out here in these streets, JB. It's already been terrible. And by the fact that we're looking at Valentine's Day, oh my God, JB, you know the reason why you got the response that you did this weekend, why you the last week, and why women are so forthcoming now? Do you even know why you got that real answer? It's because, brother, the stars aligned. You said the right thing at the right time and got the right answer. It's like an eclipse. The things just had to align to get this type of response. You asked a group full of females, would they get even a bouquet of flowers from the men? And the reason why you got such an honest answer, because we know women will sit up here and lie. Hell, just a few weeks ago, we had a woman lie sitting up there saying that she was dating a dang on CEO from Exxon. Then she sent up online talking to you at 10 o'clock at night instead of being with this multi-billionaire. So they'll just lie for no reason. But the reason why they didn't lie or they couldn't lie is because it's Valentine's Day. This is the day where females really, what Valentine's Day really is where you get your value as a woman, where men show their value for you as a woman. This is the dang on day. Christmas, that's a holiday. Everybody gets gifts on Christmas. Birthdays, though, you can get gifts. That's just a tradition. Valentine's Day is where men show your value as a woman to them. This is how much I appreciate your womanhood to me. And you got to ask the right question. How many of these females actually believe they can get even a bouquet of flowers from a man that appreciates them as a woman and the woman that they are? And they even know it's none. You ask the question, and especially today, especially on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day falls on a Saturday, Jason. You know what that means? That means that they can't even pretend, even at any level, that there's a man that actually cares about them. They got the full day. Ain't nobody, most dudes ain't working on no Saturday, so we can't say, oh, baby, I'm working, or I got an early schedule tomorrow, or this, that, and the third. No, and they can't even disguise themselves at work. Valentine's Day, though, shoot, yeah, they going to be all about work. They're going to be filing all the paperwork, doing all the filing, doing all the paperwork. They going to get the most amount of work on Valentine's Day to keep their mind out the fact that ain't nothing waiting for them when they get off that damn clock. Ain't nobody waiting to take you nowhere. Ain't nobody waiting to take you to do a damn thing. You got food. You finna live all Valentine's Day, the whole 24 hours, baby. From sun up to sundown, seeing other women or a few women get benefits and get appreciated. Let's just not say gifts. Get appreciated for being a woman. And they know that they're not getting that, and they finna live the whole damn day like that. Looking down their Instagram, their Facebook, all social media, seeing this is what my husband got me. This is what my dude got me. This is what I get, and you get nothing. Meanwhile, you're laying up in a bed with 6, 7, 8 damn different sperm samples all over it. Damn! You laying up in a bed full of 7, 8 damn different dudes all over it. Appreciate you. So that's what the real damn is. Why you got the real answer, because that ain't something she can hide. That's mental. She ain't got to tell the world. She laying in it. She laying up in her bed, knowing these dudes did all this and that with her. She knows what she done did. It's all in her mind. And she can't make an excuse about it. Because none of these dang on dudes who then laid up on her even cares about her enough to spend any amount of money on her, to go out of their way for anything. Now that ain't something that you can really just hide. That's what messes you up when you laying in the bed and it's silent at night. You know how many dudes been on the other side of that bed. You know what they done did to you. You know what done happened. And you sitting up here looking in your phone, looking at your phone, seeing the bouquets of roses, the teddy bears, the diamonds, Jason, the cars, all the benefits that other women are getting for their appreciation as a woman, and you get nothing. And that's what we are at right now. So if you saying you need a larger portion to get here, man, it's been here, Jason. They're just being strong enough not to admit it, though, And the one other thing you gotta go ahead and take into consideration from the statistics that you were spitting on out at the beginning of the show, I want to know, did we take an account into how many of the married men? Because most of those dudes you're talking about, who's spending money on Valentine's Day, are married men. Now, we know what the females are supposed to, what the wives might go ahead and get. Did we take into account, though, what the percentage of value of that is in the OnlyFans models? Since we know that the vast majority, 75-80% of OnlyFans models, their subscribers are married men. So I want to know, if the wife got a $1,000 gifts, I wonder what the OnlyFans model that he's following got.
Oh no, the OnlyFans chick gets to write her own check.
Oh yeah.
Whatever they in the DMs, baby, what do you want?
All that. And women know that, and women, just so you go ahead and know. Because it's been a long-running thing on the internet of women making this meme about men sitting in the bathroom. They're sitting on the toilet. Why are you taking so long to poop? Baby, that dude is not sitting up here pooping. He's not. Ain't no man can sit on the toilet that dang on long. That man is sitting on that damn toilet, tricking off on OnlyFans. Since we already know that married men are the most sexually desperate group in America.
While everybody's trying to press you to get married, and it's like, okay, if you're not gonna have children, and here's the crazy thing, pinching pimps ain't having no kids.
What?
So they're pressing you to do that, and I'm like, okay, what's the goal? Unless you're just lonely, and here's the problem. Everybody knows married men will be the first ones to tell you, if you want lots of sex, marriage ain't where you go for it. Not with the crop of females we got here. And increasingly, if you want to cure your loneliness, marriage is not where you go to do that either. So that's why you see a bunch of women sitting up here gaslighting about that. You don't see the men sitting up here talking about, this is the life for me, man. Fellas, boy, you missing out. You don't ever hear the men saying that. You hear the women telling other women, you missing out, and don't you wish you had that. You don't see the men telling other men you're missing out. You know this?
What a hoe that is a married man's favorite slogan.
Damn!
Let's call it what it is. Every married man, anybody knows those shit. What a hoes at? Soon as that wife ain't around, where them hoes at? What's up with them hoes, nephew?
Had a chick earlier today talking about the married men are the ones who cheat the most at their job.
Oh, yeah, because they the most sexually frustrated men out there in the world.
Well, he went for the bait, bro. I mean, he was told that once he got married, it was going to be he's getting married, so he has regular sexual access so he can get out these streets. That's the unspoken agreement. He ain't got to roam these streets no more because the chick he going to get married to going to take care of all that. And yeah, it's not breaking down like that. They can't. The women get online and lie. The men can't even get online and lie about it.
They won't. They won't, though, because they already know. And hell, they only lying in front of their woman, though, shoot. They ain't lying in front of us. They not lying in front of us, though, shoot, at all.
They're just dead quiet.
They're just dead quiet, though. Like, yeah. They sit up there and be like, yeah, marriage is good, though, in front of the woman while the woman's there. Ladies, behind closed doors, when it's just us and the fellas, though, shoot. Girl, ain't no man advocating for no other man to get married. None of them. Well,
because they would have to tell us what the benefit's going to be. Okay, this is what's going to benefit you over being married, over being single. This is what you get above that. This is the extra you get. And it ain't there. If they could say it to us, they would just explain it. Now, the women can explain what they gonna get. Because for them, marriage is a benefits package. The only reason they want to get married is for what they can get beyond the man. No, I don't just get a man. The man gonna bring me a bunch of stuff, and he's gonna keep coming back every year and bringing it to me and bringing me even more. It's like, okay, what are you doing that's worth that? Because I know what my grandmothers did. I know what they did to be worth that. I know what mama did to be worth it. What are you doing that's worth this level of unearned benefits that you're getting here? And other than bragging that you hit the lottery, and by the way, 99% of them, it's like, baby, they ain't really got nothing to brag on, but I guess go ahead. I guess if you didn't pay for it, you're going to value it. But if the men could make that case to his brother, they would just go ahead and make it, and it would be overwhelming. It would be inarguable. It wouldn't be something you could debate about. It would just be like, oh, well, that's clearly better. That's what it would be. So the married chicks, if they can finagle the right one, which is getting harder and harder by the day, but if they can finagle the right one, okay, that's clearly better. No one can tell us as men, here's what's clearly better about being with this woman single as opposed to being with her married. They can't tell you.
They can't though. They can, and they never can though. Shoot though, and what's making it even worse that even the dudes who, let's even take the dudes who's not having sexual access though. Let's talk about that one out of three, that 1/3 of dudes though who's not having sex. Dude, even they're looking down bad at the married men. Cause you a married dude, cause you a man paying $500,000 for a house, racking on up though all these bills, paying for children, paying for this and that though, shoot, and you get the least amount of sex out of everybody.
The most work and the least rewards.
Oh. And also the most disrespected. You sitting up in a bathroom in a house that you paying for and masturbating on the toilet like a 12-year-old. Ain't that pathetic?
You were better off in college.
Better, way better. You sitting up in a dang on house at $2,800, $3,000 mortgage a month though, shoot, and you got sleeping 1 foot away from some booty, and you gotta sit up in the bathroom and masturbate on your cell phone, masturbate on your cell phone like you a damn 12-year-old child, like you a 12-year-old little boy in a house you paying for. What's worse than that, Jason?
What's worse than that? Oh, I can tell you what's worse than that. What's worse than that is sitting in a house you paying for while she brought her kids from another nigga. What? While she brought her credit card debt, while she's brought her medical debt, while she's brought her student loan debt, while she's brought her weight gain and her stretch marks, while she's brought her emotional and mental baggage from the 30 or 40 other body counts she got. And you came after all them people, and you are now doing more than anybody's ever done for her, and you're going to get less than anybody else ever got. That's what's worse. That's soul breaking, because you're all in at that point, brother. Because here's the thing. If a man's going to buy a house for himself, he's not going to start at $400,000 and $500,000. We're going to go get us a little efficiency somewhere because the money for savings is better allocated somewhere else. You get all that extra room because this woman and whatever else come with it that you have to take care of. Otherwise, your expenses are going to be minimized. Okay, here's the problem. When you sign up for a damn mortgage, even if your relationship with her don't work out, you still got a relationship with the bank. So you are handcuffed to the bank. Furthermore, when you think about that for a few moments, when you bought that house, what was your down payment? Okay, whatever it was, that came out of your savings. That money's gone. That's gone. So that came out of your savings plus whatever you've been paying for it there. So it's like, okay, well, I done took a $50,000, $70,000 hit to my savings account for this ungrateful hippo over here. And so even if I walk, I don't get none of that back. First thing you think is, damn, do you know how much? Because I know what I think about with stocks. I'm like, oh, hell, if I had sold that at the right damn time, I'm still smarting over some of these things. I can only imagine you sitting in the damn house like, man, what could I have done with that $150,000 besides this? What else could I have done? So I'm eventually going to do a program where we talk about the married dudes. I'm eventually going to do that. The married dudes are going to be all upset in their feelings and things, but you can't lie about this. We don't do ourselves any favors continuing these lies. If it was really that great, if it was really that lit, you wouldn't have to sell us on it. First of all, it would be self-evident. That's the first thing. If it was really that great and that lit, we'd already be over there. The married dudes wish they were single. That's what they do. Day. They tell the chick they got married to because she suckered him in. And the overwhelming majority of married men are the designated hostage. He is a hostage to the state. He's a hostage to the bank. He's a hostage to the divorce court. He's hanging on for dear life because this woman can make one damn phone call to an attorney or the police and crash every damn thing he got. And it's like, so you're just the designated hostage. If at the very least you should tell her she can't go online anymore. Because if you can't come online and lie to us, why are you paying for internet service for her to come online and lie to everybody else?
And Jason, though, that's one other thing, though, that's actually also what I also believe, though, too, about that OnlyFans stuff, though, Shooty, is you right. This woman can pick up any phone, pick up the phone at any time she wants to, have you in divorce court, though, man, shoot, taking that that house. You didn't put $150,000 down for and all the payments, though. She can come get all that, take all that from you and leave you piss poor broke. Or leave nowhere near that. And I really do believe that is the real reason why you see, because we already know. We covered it. It's come straight from the owners of OnlyFans that their number one and 75-80% of their demographic is from married men. These are married men. And I believe that OnlyFans is really just a place where these guys go to go spend that damn money off before they already know that woman is finna take them into divorce court. Pretty much just burning down the damn palace before it gets taken from them.
Well, I think they go there for gratification, but also I think the women really backhandedly allow it and are okay with it. Because she's like, okay, if he's on OnlyFans, oh, well, he's not bothering me. So if he's sitting up here sexually gratified over this something online, well, at least he's not rolling over in the bed expecting me to do anything for him. So it's better that than him bothering me. If that'll keep him quiet.
But it ain't no little bit of money. This ain't Playboy magazine, Jason. No, OnlyFans is not just having a couple Playboys stashed off, though, in the toolbox somewhere, though, shoot, like back in the day. Yeah, they had that. Women said that same damn phrase, though, back in the damn day. OnlyFans ain't for go ahead and play. This for you finna spend some money on that. And I believe this is where a lot of females gonna figure on now that this damn dude and sat around, no shoot, and done moved and intentionally made himself broke just for when you come to that damn divorce court proceeding and say, where the money at, though, shoot? That money, that retirement money, all that money I had in savings, though, shoot. Oh, that's gone. Well, where's it at? Is it hitting off in an account somewhere? Oh, no. That's in Jamaican Thick Thighs 87's bank account. That's in Latina Hot Spice, though, 27, no shoot. The OnlyFans account. That money gone. And that money ain't finna be no damn money you can ever get back. Jason, you think after that, if that man then dropped that money into another woman's purse, is it ever coming back?
No, it's all money in, no money out.
No money out. You might as well shoot, though. You might as well shit, though, shit. And the women, and I guess that's the main damn reason for it, though, because she already know, like, yeah, it's gone. I think these dudes is over here. These dudes is out here spending exorbitant amount of money. Now, we all know, though, eventually he's not going to sit up there and just want the regular, just sitting up here looking at a video. I believe these damn dudes is dropping off thousands of damn dollars, though, and finna have them a hell of a damn getaway. OnlyFans to me ain't nothing but where these dudes go pick on out what fantasy you want, whatever buffet you want, $20,000 a pop. You already know what it is, and get you a weekend at the resort and whatever in Hawaii, and y'all finna have y'all a damn Diddy party.
Oh, dude, I don't want to say too much, y'all. I don't want to say too much. I shouldn't. Oh, forget it. What I'm gonna say is I know what's happening right now on a Friday night. I know what's happening right now in Miami. I know what's happening right now in LA. I know what's happening right now. I can actually tell you the hotels that it's happening at.
What? Damn!
I can actually tell you the places it's happening right now. Now, I say right now. Right now, they're getting drunk. Some of them are coming in. Some of them are going out. Once it gets past midnight, so you got about another hour out there on the East Coast. Once it gets past midnight, you're going to start seeing folk with tramp stamps and things making their way to the hotels. The fellas are going to be bringing the things with the tramp stamps and whatnot and the BBLs to the hotels. And yeah, that's a real thing. I'll let you have the last word.
Oh yeah, I know I had it right there though. Shoot, I knew it though. Ladies though, shoot, a lot don't let that dang on woman sit up here and trick you on up though, thinking that it's gonna be good, that she got her a little simp and she done married him and this damn dude ain't got a plan B. Jason already didn't say it so much though, but it is what it is though, shoot, and we done did the statistics. Yeah, while you're sitting up here thinking what he doing, sitting on that toilet for 45 damn minutes though, and think you ain't gotta give him no damn sex, and you can get fat as you want to be, walking around with a hair bonnet though, shoot. Just go ahead and know every time he's sitting on that damn toilet, oh, there go more of your dream car. That's that dream car you always wanted. There go them new floors, that new furniture, all that same stuff that you said make it think you got this nigga wrapped around your fingers. Oh no, baby, you gonna have a hard time and a depressing feeling though, shoot. When he dies though, and that the attorney and that damn attorney though is sitting back looking at his will though, like, yeah, okay then though, yeah, the majority of his stake and all of his life insurance policy is now transferred to Big Thick Thighs 82. Yep, that's who he left his life insurance policy to. Oh wait, no, he left you. Wait, well, hold on here. I'm thumbing through it. Hold up. What? Yeah, Miss Clayton. Yeah, hold on here. Page 32. Okay. To my dear beloved wife, I hereby leave you my most prized possession, my golf clubs. So you have a good day, and that's it.
If you think you're lonely now, thank you very much. Give us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Yeah, y'all, it's getting late. And I know what's going down in Las Vegas.
What? Intervention!
I know what's going down in Vegas. Friday night, I know what's going down in Vegas. At the Aria, I know what's going down in Miami at the Fontainebleau. Let me just quit. Let me just stop right there. I ain't got to say all these names because folk will be trying to follow me around. I'm not going to say anything else. Okay, let me jump back over here on Zoom. I don't know what happened to Jay. Jay was on Zoom. He jumped off there. I see Jerry. Just hang on for a minute here. Everybody else who's on Zoom here, let me go ahead and get Onan right quick. I see all of y'all. As long as you're on Zoom, I'm going to see about getting to you tonight. Let me see if we can get Onan up here on Zoom for me here right quick. Yeah, look, I mean, everybody, in case y'all didn't know, the Win and the Encore. If you in Vegas, go to the Win and go to the Encore. And you need to talk about it. All right, we got Onan up here on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
What's going on, brother? So I think the problem with Valentine's Day and that I essentially think it's big corporations. I think that Valentine's Day has been essentially commodified. So now people are simply expecting tangible benefits from whoever they're seeing, whether it's a significant other, girlfriend, husband, whatever it may be, but you're just expecting something from the party. And I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
I mean, well, look, we live in a capitalistic society, so I mean, everything's commoditized. That's not new. You know, the rent, whatever you name it, everything runs on money. So that much is a given. The thing is, though, that we don't have a problem paying for something that's worth it. There's no grudge about paying anything when what you're getting is worth it. What bothers you and offends you is when you paying and you feel like wherever that money went, it could have gone to better use somewhere else. That you are not satisfied with what you've done or what you've gotten. So I think that we've reached a point where there are enough males now. There are enough who've had enough bad experiences that now you're seeing a pullback on it. And all you really got are the married suckers who are just basically it's the sunk lost fallacy. He already in it. He already belonged to the game. So he's either got to keep up appearances or try to appease her, or he's hoping that this is going to soften it up and it ain't. So he's stuck with it and everybody else is buying it for the pets of their family members. As I showed with the graph that I had up there before there, that's pretty much what's going on in that regard. So those who have the ability to opt out are doing it. And they're not doing it because they're just being temperamental. They're doing it because they've looked like, hey, where's my return on this? You know, if that was really getting them what they wanted, you'd see a whole lot more of it. And furthermore, you would see it throughout the year. I mean, if flowers were really this big panacea and if flowers were really this big aphrodisiac, men would have the damn flower shops popping 7 days a week. It's not. That's the problem. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. And it's always demonstrated us men willing to pay for what we value. You know, so if we see value in a woman that we're dating, like about 6 years ago, I was dating a young lady in the summer. And I mean, the romance was intense. And I had no problem dropping $100, $150, $200 on dinner just to be a presence. You know, because the connection was so strong. But I bring it up because I think it signifies the type of person that I think has been pulled from the Valentine's Day. So where it's not much about one's passion for another person, it's more about what they can provide, which I think is tragic because so much that's lost. If the entire process is not experienced, if you don't go through the emotional roller coasters, all things that essentially teach what to value and what essentially makes Valentine's Day special. You know, so I that's one of the ways that it can be restored.
It starts with the people. My whole reason for asking that question is because it's about the flowers and it has nothing to do with the flowers, which is the thing I said before. The flowers, I mean, it's cheap. The whole point is that it's the gesture, it's the thought behind it. This is a gesture of your affection. This is a gesture of your interest. This is a gesture of your concern. And it doesn't, it does, in the greater scheme of things, it doesn't cost a man anything, or at least it costs very, very little. When you reach the point where big effect gestures that cost very little, the males no longer see it as worthwhile. That's an effective, that's a cumulative thing. That's not that something went bad once. That's the effect of, I've seen this go bad a bunch of times. Men didn't check out because it only happened bad once. They checked out because they realized, the rule isn't that this works and the exception is that you'll be dissatisfied. The rule is this doesn't mean anything. And the exception is, oh, hell, they actually appreciated it. You know, it's that right there. And also, when you transform romance into a finance, when you do that, now this idea that you're going to make everything a bidding war, everything's going to be a bidding war and you're moved by money and who you go to the highest bidder and you're only going to be pleasant, or at least pretend to be, for the highest bidder. The bottom line is that you're a depreciating asset. you're not getting more valuable day by day. If it costs him more every year to keep you happy and pleasant and you're a depreciating asset, it's like, okay, it's only going to be a matter of time before he finally wakes up and realizes this is not worth it. There's no way that this is worth it.
Yeah. I'm going to look at this point. I think that, man, I think as us, and we look at relationships like anything else, it's an investment. We're investing not only our time, but our resources into someone that we care about. Ultimately, I think that dictates what we make of the holiday and how we express ourselves, our significant other. I'm going to land at that point. Brother Jason, thank you very much. B$1.
Thank you for giving us a call tonight. Hey, look, I don't want to be in a lame world either. I want things to be happening. I want things to be big. I want it to be like that. But you cannot kill the men's motivation. You can't kill men's motivation and expect them to keep producing like that. There's not enough old niggas out there to shore it up. And the up and coming crop is like, hey, if the females are going to do the bare minimum, we can double down on that. I'm like, okay, it's going to be raggedy. Let me jump back over here on Zoom right quick. I'm going to get you in a moment here. I see Jay jump back on. Let me see if I can get Jared up here right quick. Jared, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up, Jason? Just first of all, man, I just want to give you your flowers for these past two broadcasts, especially the one last night. With Mike, I just feel like, man, it was just something I just needed to hear. I recently just got out of a relationship for about 7 years, and
were you married?
No.
Okay, well,
fortunately not. I feel like I kind of.
You say fortunately. Wait a minute. Do you have any children?
We have one. Yes.
Okay, dude. We said fortunately we weren't married. Okay, she got the kid though, but go ahead.
No, I mean, I wanted to, though. I mean, it was something I wanted to do, so it wasn't like.
Okay, but if you don't, but a child is gonna handcuff you to her. So if you didn't want to be with her anymore, I'm like, this is not gonna be the way to go. If you don't want to be with her, because now you got to fool with her all the time now.
No, yeah,
including if you get with another woman. Okay, now she's a third wheel.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've thought about it a lot, and I've accepted all the consequences and everything, for and everything that comes with that. And so yeah, like I say I wanted to because I did want to have that family. I did want to keep us together to have a family and everything. But just you can't really just use a kid.
Money does not buy a woman's respect, and a kid is not going to buy her allegiance.
Right. And I mean, when I found out that she was actually pregnant, I mean, it was more so her that wanted the kid than me. Because she even talked about it, repeatedly when we didn't have a kid. It was something she wanted for sure. And so I feel like it was more so her wanting one, and when she actually was pregnant, it was more so like.
Here's the issue. The issue is that when a man crawls between a woman's legs long enough, it becomes very, very familiar, and then you get in the cheaper to keep her, and then you start resorting to your feelings, and you swing in and out. You swing in and out. 1 minute you like her, then the next day she does something that reminds you why you don't like her. Okay, but if you don't have better options, you're sitting there. The reason why marriage is useful is because marriage is not a matter of feeling. Marriage is a process you got to go through. It's a hassle. There's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing sexual about it. It's all very clinical. It's all very bureaucratic. Yeah, you have to make a decision. Wait a minute, is she worth all this bureaucracy and all this legality I'm having to go to? When y'all having sex, it goes very, very quickly. To get married, that's a hassle. And if you did not pull the trigger on marrying them, that's your mind telling you, nigga, I don't care what's happening in that bed. She's not really something we want to stay strapped to. Right. We don't want to be glued to this. We only get in trouble if we ignore that voice.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, I definitely did get in trouble. Because we did break up before, for about 3 months or so. And then once we got back together, that's maybe a year or two after that, that's when we ended up having a kid. So, yeah, I definitely had the chance to avoid the whole situation. And, that's something that I had to really like look at and reflect on for myself, and see the things where I went wrong and where I went right. Uh, but yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I guess as you grow, you grow with a person and you start to really see like their, who they are. And, like the other guy, I forget his name, but the guy that you played the recording, at the start of the broadcast,
That was Brandon. He just got off.
Brandon, yeah, like he was spot on, man. Like, like money doesn't buy respect. I paid all the bills, phone bill, rent, everything. And you can still face disrespect. They may not want to listen to what you like, your goals or your values. You may try to set guidelines or structure for the relationship and be the leader. And just because that you're doing everything doesn't mean that they're going to fall in line. And that's something that I learned firsthand.
Well, that's the whole thing about it. As men, you need to have a number of relationships, but also you can't be no damn dummy. Too many males out there get fixated on one thing. You just focus on, well, as long as we can get some sex, everything else will fall into place, which is the biggest male weak fat fallacy that we tend to inhabit. Also, it shouldn't take you 7 or 8 bad damn relationships to figure it out. That's the other issue. Yeah. When you got guys who've been knocking around from one hoe to another for 20 and 30 damn years, and he still can't spot trouble or red flags or warning signs. Every time he goes out there, he's just as naive as the first day he went in. That's inexcusable. You shouldn't have to go through 12 bad relationships to be able to spot a bad female just sniffing her. And so, okay, it shouldn't take you a year to see that. You should be able to immediately see cues that show you in her mannerisms, in her vocabulary, in her work ethic or lack thereof, in her vision or lack thereof, in her aspirations, in her insight as a woman. You should be able to see that at a certain point. You should be able to just, okay, she either right or she ain't. It shouldn't take 12 damn relationships and 20 years before you got the hang of this thing.
Yeah.
And for most men, when you're tunnel vision, yeah, no wonder you can't see it. You just go from one relationship to another, repeating the same mistake.
Yeah. And that's something you mentioned last night. Like I think you said like it shouldn't take you 12 relationships to progress as a partner or to get better as a partner, And that's something, I thought about too. I was like, man, like at least this, this was, I would say like my second real like serious relationship, where I've dated someone for multiple years, where you're saying like you love each other and everything. And I learned from my first one a lot as far as this being a better partner, just doing more and being all in. And that's something that, I felt that I did pretty well with this relationship, like being committed, not being unfaithful, being loyal, and trying to be like the man that I wanted to be. And unfortunately it still, I guess, wasn't enough.
Well, the problem is that as men, what you all don't understand, as I said before, as time goes on, women want more. So the bottom line is, I don't care what you all had or what you were doing when she walked in the door. She wants an appreciating asset. So I don't care how great you think you're doing. By year 5, she wants more than she got in year 1. That target's always going to be moving. So, well, I'm being a good guy. And, I thought we were okay. Well, yes, as a man, you want things to remain the same. You got with her because you like what you saw. You like what you had. You like what you're experiencing. Okay, let's just keep it just like this. And what she's not telling you is that, okay, great. I got with you and I'm okay with the way things are right now. And I expect it to be better in a few years from now. But if she's getting older, she's not going to be a few years. I need it better in a few months from now.
Yeah.
So now the time clock is accelerated. So we have to be honest about that. We have to be honest about that. Otherwise, we are not really being realistic about what's about to happen to us. Men and women speak so many different vocabularies about so many different things, even if you're using technical terms. When you say marriage, you mean something different than a woman does. Yeah. She doesn't mean the same thing you do. There's the problem. If you're agreeing to it on your terms and you are not clear with yourself about, wait a minute, what does she think this means? If you're not clear about that and you're not agreeing to that, it'll only be a matter of time before that blows up in your face.
Yeah. I feel like marriage to her was more of like a optics kind of thing. Like, oh, look, I got this ring. I got these photos from this wedding. I can say I have a husband, instead of saying go my boyfriend or my man, I can say my husband.
Right. It's about the symbolism of it.
Yeah, like how it looks. Let me go around like my mom and my sisters, and I'm the one that's married, or I got this rock in my hand, or whatever. And for me, it's more so it would have been just just having a lifelong partner. I don't know if you're like a J. Cole fan, but he recently released an album, and he was like mentioning like a lot of people are scared to go what is it like go in on life, like take a what's the charge, like 25 to life or whatever, when you pretty much not getting released. It's pretty much the same when you get married. Like people they avoid that, and that's how I viewed it. It was like, like we're about to like do a bid together, and you want to grow and we want to build something. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to build, have land, have some, assets, kids, and our kids, they're going to inherit assets and everything, and actually build that generational.
Well, what you're talking about right there, that will take time. Right. And the problem is the female really got to be into you to have patience. Women have patience with men they love.
Yeah.
They don't have patience with, well, you're the best I could do. They don't have patience with you. Yeah. She only has patience with that fella she emotional about. So that's when you find out if you're a utility. If you're a utility, you don't get patience. You just got to get out there and hump it and make it happen. But no, we're not no patience, no nothing. You only get credit for what you've done.
True. And I feel like, man, like we loved each other. I feel like she definitely like, not to brag or boast or anything. I definitely feel like she loved me more. Not to say I didn't love her or anything like that, but I felt as we progressed and our relationship got further along. There's certain things that you just can't go without addressing, and the more I address certain things that I didn't like or I wanted to change, she didn't like that. I feel like certain females they can't take criticism well, and
it depends on who it's coming from. Exactly. Please remember, after when you first met, she probably would be a lot more open to that. After 7 years, she really feels like she's got seniority.
Yeah.
So it becomes, and that's the other thing right there. Fellas, if you are 3 years down the road and you are still grappling with bad habits that she's got, character defects or whatever, I'm going to advise you, cut bait.
Yeah.
You should not be 3 years down the road and we got disciplinary problems, bad habits, character defects. When you identify those, you're not going to fix them.
Yeah.
You're not going to fix them. And the longer she stays there, the less she feels like she needs to change anything.
Yeah.
Also, the more that she feels like that should cost you. Like she starts asking herself, well, why is he worth this? What is he doing for me that is worth this right here? So you have to be honest with yourself about what you got. This is who she is. This is what you got. If you're not okay with it like it is, do not get it pregnant and do not get it married.
Yeah.
Because this is what it's going to be. And the problem is sex turns males' brains off. So they throw some sex on you and then it's like a reset button. And women know this. So when she feel like she in the doghouse, well, let me hit this reset button right quick. Okay, we rebooted the hard drive. He's forgotten all this. Next thing you know, it's only a matter of time before you're right back here again and the frequency of those incidents increases.
Yeah.
So it used to be y'all only had to fight once a year. Then it's once every 6 months. Now it's 90 days. Now it's 30 days. Now it's we got our good days and our bad days.
Yeah.
And you get the good days and bad days every week. So if you're not okay and cool with it the way it is, don't start this. Just don't start at all.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that's going to happen here is now you're in a situation it's like, okay, is this really what I want to be? I mean, just well, the goal was really be a single dad, really? That was the goal?
Definitely not. And I think that's probably why, because my son, he's 3 now. So I guess like, halfway through the relationship, that's when we, had a kid and everything. And, like the past 3 years was really just fighting to keep the relationship together, so I wouldn't be a single dad and she wouldn't be, a single mom.
Well, here's the thing. When she was younger, 8 years ago, when she met you, she was a younger female. She didn't know you as well back then. Remember, right. Certainty arms hypergamy. Uncertainty disarms it. Once a female thinks she knows everything about you, now you're going to start seeing what she really thinks. And after 4 or 5 years, she pretty much feels like she's seen everything.
Yeah.
So she's not that chick you were with when you first met her. You 5, 6, 7 years down the road now. If you are not cognizant that you are not still 8 years back, you 8 years forward. You still got your mind on 8 years ago. And y'all are 8 years down the road. She's a different woman now. And she sees you differently now. So she doesn't have to guess about what you're going to do or what you're not going to do or what you can perform or what you can't perform. She's seen it. And even if you're like, well, baby, just hang in there, and just do it. It'll be greater later. She's like, I've been hearing this for 7, 8 years. Yeah. So just remember that kind of, it starts to wear thin. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah. Shoot, man, I really don't even know what the last word would be, but, no, I just feel like these past 2 broadcasts, man, like really spoke to me, and like I said, I appreciate what you do and everything, and yeah, like I've even thought about like maybe going to therapy and things like that, just just to get some stuff off my chest. But I feel like what you're doing, man, is really really helpful, and I'm very thankful for that, man. So just keep doing what you're doing, Jason. And, people, it's really helping people. And that's why I wanted to call in, man, just to show you that there's people that are actually going through the things that you're talking about. And we listen and, we're trying to do better and everything. So thank you for that, Jason.
Thank you for giving us a call tonight. Like I say, it might be worth it if you're the man. It depends on who it is. You all know how I feel about that. I suppose it could be useful if you have the right one. All right, let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. Let me see if I can get Jay up here on Zoom for me here right quick. All right, there you go, Jay. I don't see you, Jay. Where you at? There you go.
Yeah. How you doing, brother?
All right, brother. What's on your mind?
Man, you've been breaking it down tonight. This is like another legendary master class, And you didn't even fire up the cauldron yet. But, yeah, we are living in a gynocracy, right?
So far as we can tell.
Yeah, and that's what you broke it down. That's what I took from tonight, the gynocracy. Everybody talking about feminism, matriarchy. Nah, it's gynocracy, bro. I caught that.
Okay,
bro. Much love, bro.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, it's going to be a whole lot of that going forward. Look, the bottom line is we're just asking different questions now. These are tough questions, but they're different questions. And you know what? This is a good thing. It's a great thing because we need to have an honest conversation. I keep saying that. I keep saying it over and over again because that's what's been missing. Having an honest conversation about where we actually are, not where you wish we were. For the women to actually be honest about what it is they actually want. And then the world needs to be honest with you about what you can actually get. And then for the fellas, you're going to have to be honest about what you actually have. And also be honest about what you can expect, because I will tell you one thing. A sex robot is not going to challenge you. So for the fellows who were thinking about those other things, by the way, there is one thing they'll be missing. They will not challenge you to be a better man. They won't be able to challenge you to challenge yourself, to upgrade yourself, to improve yourself, to keep going out there every day, demanding a better version of yourself. that's something that's really part of the human condition. It defies digitization. A robot does not need to fight for survival the way that you do. So how are they going to encourage you or have your back or be in the struggle with you? They got a different struggle. So that's going to be something else for you to keep in mind there. It doesn't do us good to have such a chronically dysfunctional thing, because here's the thing I want you all to understand. These are the evils and the ills of that damnable baby boomer civil rights generation.
Damn!
The real crime of all of this is the screwed up, schizophrenic, social gender warring trash that the civil rights baby boomer generation went off into. The spoiled brat bastards of the World War II generation. They created this dysfunctional mess. These are their arguments and their schisms and their mental and emotional dysfunctions calcified into cultural practices. You take a look at how things were before they got in the driver's seat, and then take a look how it went to hell in just one generation. All that progress evaporated and gone. People arguing over stupid things day in and day out. Well, yeah, the spoiled brat bastards of the World War II generation could afford to argue over stupid things. They had a middle class. They had an industrial sector. They had the strongest economy and the strongest money in the world, the lowest prices and the strongest money in the world. They could afford to be stupid. They could afford to be morons, and they did. They went full-blown moronic. They could afford to do it off their parents' backs. And then they passed my generation, Gen X, the bill. And the bill has been compounded with interest ever since. And what I'm saying is that it is senseless to have this ridiculous conflict that the females are picking up and carrying and perpetuating. This is idiocy and madness and senseless. This is garbage that you picked up from a dysfunctional, sick generation of individuals that has no place operating amongst us here now. These are their dysfunctions and their psychoses. And we're not supposed to be wrestling with this. So the whole point of seeing this and confronting this is so that we have a better idea. We're not supposed to have these problems because these aren't our demons. These are somebody else's, but they become your demon when you adopt it. Which is what we currently see going on here now. And so it becomes Groundhog's Day and you start repeating the same mess over and over and over again. It becomes that. So our generations of today, and really for my generation, we're really kind of aged out, but right here for Gen X and for Gen Z, Gen Alpha, the millennials are getting older here. But for those of you who have a chance in front of you, you are not to adopt this foolishness and this nonsense. Argumentative and difficult for the sake of being argumentative and difficult. Your mama wasn't worthy of being loved. She was too damn screwed up. You don't have to be. Your daddy never really accomplished anything, so he couldn't achieve full manhood because he never actually knew what the hell that was. You don't have to be. And let me explain to you here, the sex robots things works out a whole lot better for the men than it does for the women. Ladies, you're not going to survive on a planet that has machines emulating what you do. Because you can't get a robot to do what men do. You can't get that. The female psyche begins to crack. When you talk about how women socialize earlier in life, females socialize earlier in life, they socialize earlier in life. Okay, if that's a true statement, then what happens when you have nobody to socialize with but a bunch of cats? You never saw a sane female who had a house full of pets. Ain't that right, Oprah? The number one indicator that you're a female who's screwed up and throwed off is when we see some pets running around with you. It's like, oh, you've lost your ability to relate to other people. You're broken and damaged and cracked. The height of your womanhood is your interaction with a man. There's nothing greater. There isn't anything that even comes close. It dictates literally everything about you. Without that influence, I can't even say you're half a woman anymore. You're not a woman at all. And when you have entered an era where men don't think that you are worth a group of funky flowers, then you can kiss protection goodbye. You think that this disease just stops at the flowers? You can kiss protection goodbye. The baby boomers were a bunch of dysfunctional, psychotic, crack, diseased individuals who sat up here and were perpetuating a bunch of mess because they could afford to do so. You cannot afford to do so. Back then, nobody would blink an eye at grabbing a single mom because there weren't so many of them out there. You will not be able to, and furthermore, it was easier and cheaper to take care of them. You will not have that. You didn't have STDs at epidemic proportions back then. You do now. You don't have that leeway. A house only cost $10,000 or $15,000 back then, not $400,000 and $500,000. We're not going to get into the handbags that your grandmama had versus what you want. All you're really doing is racking up a lifetime of debt here and being the most disagreeable people in the room. Okay. I'm showing you all these mile markers along the way that illustrate there's a problem. And the problem is metastasizing. I need to say one more thing right here to dovetail off of other lessons I've given you all before. Ladies, we have to come to grips with something here. The reason why we have the obesity epidemic among the females, the reason why we have the mental health epidemic among the females, the reason why we have the emotional problem epidemic among the females. Can we be honest for just a few moments? All that fake bravado and fake narcissism. Most women have given up on themselves. And right now, they just want a peaceful death. They don't truly believe they can do any better. They don't truly believe they can fix it. They don't truly believe they can repair it, reverse it. They're so set in their ways. And right now, they're just really holding out for a peaceful death. And if they can go ahead and do that, oh well. That's something to think about. Do you think that men are going to make a lifelong commitment to an individual who really in your heart of hearts, you're just holding out hoping for a peaceful death? Just hoping, well, I hope it's not painful when it happens. Because there is no improving and there is no fixing. For a lot of you, if you're honest with yourselves, that's where you really are. You're there. You're eating yourselves to death. You are prescription pilling yourself to death. You're YouTubing yourself to death. Let me tell you something here. You talking about the men with porn. What about all you females in your damn makeup tutorials and YouTube strapped to your ear and the rest of the nonsense? Have you seen that? At least the men are building houses in between. If you want to destroy a female psyche, take an exceptionally social creature like a female and then segregate her and isolate her from proper socialization. And let me go into the proper socialization. Ladies, let's be clear about something. 90% of the female population today, 90% of you all are starving You are starving for an engaging, deep conversation with a man that doesn't have sexual overtones. The things I was talking about tonight, like with the robots and whatnot, that kind of conversation, women don't get that. That is exceedingly rare today. And most of you are absolutely ravenous for it. A conversation where you can be taught something practical. It reveals things to you. Starts growing dendrites on your brain. Look it up. To have an exchange that introduces you to new ideas and new concepts that you hadn't considered before that are actually interesting to you, not just really wonky and nerdy sounding. This is like, oh, that was weird. Not stuff that's just weird, but things that are actually interesting. 90% of females out here today, they go day to day and they don't get that at all. So the only thing they end up doing is having to dumb themselves down, which is really the end of the damn road. When you have to dumb yourself down. No female truly desires to do that. The reason why you all keep going back to college and being students and whatnot is because you naturally gravitate to the process of wanting to study. Men want to learn and act. However, women propagate more to studying. Women gravitate to being students. Well, yes, that's the first step to being a teacher. And who are a child's first teachers? But if you want to break that in yourself, stop socializing, which is where you are. Surround yourself with a bunch of other females who are equally disaffected and broken. Go ahead and all of you hang out together all the time until you start falling out with each other because you must. Go ahead and do that. And then take a look at the situation and how it degenerates, which is what you're currently seeing. So you have social media accounts but no value. Now you're going to resort to material therapy. That doesn't work because there's not enough money in the world to fill the hole where your soul is supposed to be. So you're just going to end up sitting up here buying yourself into oblivion. Who are the biggest hoarders? Women. Women are the biggest hoarders. Yes, she's trying to fill her life with meaning, when in reality, she was supposed to be filling it with people. When women lose their ability to relate, they crack, they shatter, they lose it all. And that's one thing when you see it among very old women who everybody they knew has died off. She's isolated because all the connections she had to the world, they have all died through attrition. But we're witnessing this now happening among 20-year-old and 30-year-old females, exhibiting the same type of social dysmorphia that we would expect to see among elderly women. Women in their 20s with 2 and 3 dogs and 5 and 6 cats. Nakedly showing to take the place of where a person is supposed to be. Compensating for the people that you don't have around you. Take a look here. The women are chronically sick and ill. Who's number one with antidepressants? The females. Who's number one with suicide attempts? The women. There's a problem. And one of the major catalysts of that problem is that you've gotten involved and engaged in an exploitation culture where you're going to just see if you can grab everything for yourself and damn everybody else. And that's when you give up your womanhood. Womanhood is not developed by taking. Your womanhood is developed by giving. Your womanhood is only developed by giving. That's when you teach. That's what you are to teach. Is that when it's time to distribute and to dispense and to nurture and to give. And if you lose that, you have lost what it means to be a woman. It doesn't work otherwise. Men can operate in isolation like that. We are linear. by nature. Females cannot. You all just become really weird and wacky, and it's that crazy old lady up the street. Did you think that's how the story was going to end? Did you really think that's how the story was going to end? I'm glad that we took out some time to be introspective about this, because how I was going to do things this week was going to be different. But when I saw that the men responded differently to it, when I saw that's how it went, I was like, you know what? Let me investigate that a little bit more. Let me see what's going on there. Now, I want to say one more thing here. I am not saying that the men are perfect. Nigga, please. I'm not saying that. I am not saying that the men are perfect. I am not saying that the men are without flaw. I jump on the guys every damn week. I just did a program about that last night. I'm not saying that the men are perfect. They're paragons of virtue. They got it all figured out. The women are all screwed up and the men are all right. That is not what I'm saying. However, what I'm saying is that in every story, there is a protagonist and an antagonist. And in this formula, in this situation, for the ladies, ladies, you're not the protagonist here. And it's having and going to have devastating consequences. You're going to have people in your life that I think the worst thing, there's a bunch of philosophers who've spoken about this throughout the centuries, having a life that is less than what it could have been. That's the greatest tragedy of all, is having a life that is far less than it could have been, that you never saw what you were actually, truly, really capable of. And that's going to be determined by the people you have around you as a woman. As a woman, you need people to bounce off of. You need people to reflect off of. You need people to sample. You want it. You need that. You can't explore your creativity and find out if you're really creative if you don't have other people to validate it. So you need them as a check on you to make sure that what you see is actually real, because feelings lie to you. So you need folks who can be objective, that you can talk to and whatnot. Does it sound right? Does this not sound right? Are they running game? You need that. And being isolated is depriving you of it. And in case you didn't know about the mental health records and the physical health records, it's not turning out so great. So take this as an opportunity. Don't take this as a personal annihilation. Don't get off in your narcissism and your egoism that you're just right no matter what. Stop for a few moments and take this in. Let that soak in. Let that be a reality. And just consider, is this really the best you could do? Is this the best you aspired to? Is this really the best that you aspired to? How much are you missing and leaving on the table as a result? And then going around and looking like a fool and trying to tell folks everything's fine, everything's all right. How much is being left on the table as a result? About how much life is being left on the table. Maybe we've hit the bottom. I don't truly believe that, but maybe it can be. And we can have some different conversations about that. Or maybe a lot of you are just so cracked and so broken that you're so addicted to drama that distracts you from how bad the situation really is and helps you with that peaceful death thing. So, for a lot there may be, but for the others, particularly for the females who listen to me, ladies, first of all, I thank you for your candor. I thank you for your honesty. I thank you for saying it exactly the way it was. And I thank you for being honest with yourselves about exactly where you're at. I think that part is good. That part is good. What isn't good is acknowledging you have a problem and ain't nothing being done to address it. Not anything effective. So I applaud you for at least dropping your ego and your pride enough to say there's a problem. But that's just the beginning. What are you going to do about it? Now that you've conceded, okay, there is an issue here. I can't even get a bouquet of roses. Okay. Now what? Now what? Because it's a big world out there and there's a lot to see and do. And doing it by yourself is the worst it could be. And I want things to be better for you. I'm not one of these guys out here, man, damn these females. They getting to work and they deserve to get to work and to hell with them. I'm not him. I see a problem and I want it addressed. Hopefully you want the same thing. I will tell you one thing. If you take nothing else from this Valentine's Day, yeah, the numbers of men who are just desperate and they're just going to keep going back to the well and keep trying to save you and fish you out and extend themselves, man, that's drying up. Your mamas and your aunties and them got the last of the sad sack pension pimp generation. Baby, you out here having to throw elbows on your own. It used to be slim pickings. Now it's, girl, we just dumpster diving. Maybe you'll take that. Maybe you'll do better. We'll see. Good program here tonight, at least in that regard. This is the first one I've done where, with a members only feature. So for those of you wondering, the chat room was only open to members tonight. We've had a couple thousand people in here during the program tonight. So most of them can watch, but only the members have been able to use the membership features there in the chat. So we'll be doing this again. I'm going to do a program about I'm going to do the program about the married dudes here in a minute, specifically about the married guys. We're going to do a program about that. They're going to be in their feelings, so what? We're going to have some talk about that and some talk about some other things here. While I'm at it here, while I'm giving out thanks and things like that, while I'm doing that, I know it's not always easy here. Like I say, I've been on a lot this week. Well, more than usual. I just felt like I needed to go ahead and do that. And maybe it's been useful for you. Maybe you got something out of that. I'd like to do some more of that. I don't know. Maybe I should hold another poll.
Nigga, what?
I'm just saying. Maybe we'll have another poll for that. Maybe we will. In the meantime here, I want to thank everyone who has contributed for tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to everybody here in the Super Chat tonight.
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all time.
To everybody here in the Super Chat, they knew what was up. A lot of folks here have been giving out memberships left, right, and center. So thank you for that there. Jason C7993 gave out a bunch of memberships. Eonto9, he's always good for that. So they were giving out a bunch of memberships here tonight to get everybody up to code on that. So you can thank them for giving you the ability to do that as well. Shout out to Rude Love Podcast as well. Thank you very much for your support. Alpha Male Pimp. Keep it pimping. Black Powder Podcast gave out a bunch of memberships here as well. The gift that keeps on giving. So like I say, we'll be doing this again. I might have a little twist on it here next time for you. So the next time I decide to do something, I do know this. Based off the experience of the last couple of weeks here, I think it's been very productive. However, my thing is I don't want just a bunch of bitter billies involved. So I appreciate having the insight that's happened in the last couple of weeks here. If I do anything else, though, I might make that kind of voting or whatever just eligible for members. I might end up just doing that instead. It depends. Depends on how things go. But I want to thank all of you who contributed tonight on Super Chat and whatnot, gave folks membership so they can go ahead and be a part of it here as well. That's definitely appreciated. And if you are new to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button and that notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description. We do it 12 noon Central Time every Saturday. You are more than welcome to give us a call. You saw that things go down over there. Tonight's program is a product of the last program we did over there. I got some points I want to make this weekend as well. We got some stuff to follow up on. As those of you who've been listening know, we got some things we need to follow up on. So we're going to go ahead and be a part of that as well also. I want to thank all of you for tuning in a nice program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.